petitions. The Honourable Member for Bulolo.
Thank you, Mr. Acting Speaker. This petition is to the Honourable Speaker and the members of the National Parliament assembled. The humble petition of the Farmers and Settlers Association, or FSA, in collaboration with other key industry bodies, including the Poultry Industry Association, or PIA, the Leyte Chamber of Commerce and Industry, and the Papua New Guinea Chamber of Mines and Petroleum, seeks urgent attention to the deteriorating condition of the Bulolo Highway. The critical infrastructure serves as a lifeline for a major economic sectors such as poultry, cattle, forestry, and mining that contribute significantly to Papua New Guinea's economic development. The highway is also vital for the movement of goods and services, linking the districts of UN Gulf, Bulolo, Wawaria, and Miniama, and extending connectivity to other remote communities such as Kaintiba, Kerma Gulf Province, and Marawaka, Eastern Highlands Province. Furthermore, the highway also supports the coffee growers, small businesses, and local communities whose livelihoods depend on reliable access to markets and services. The current state of disrepair and lack of consistent maintenance has raised serious concerns among the stakeholders, threatening economic productivity, public safety, and of course regional development. We respectfully urge the relevant authorities to prioritize the rehabilitation and sustainable maintenance of the Bulolo Highway to ensure continued growth and connectivity for the people and industries that rely on it, and we respectfully show it that number one, the immediate assessment of the current condition of the Bulolo Highway by the Department of Works and Highways. Number two, that an allocation of emergency funding for critical repairs to restore safe and reliable access. Number three, that a major development of a long-term maintenance strategy in consultation with industry stakeholders and affected communities. And lastly, number four, Mr. Acting Speaker, that a serious consideration of public-private partnerships to support infrastructure sustainability. Your petitioner therefore humbly pray that the Bulolo Highway is a strategic asset for Papua New Guinea's economic and social development. Addressing its current state is not only a matter of infrastructure, but of national interest. Prompt action will safeguard livelihoods, support industry growth, and reinforce regional connectivity. And your petitioners, as in duty bound, will pray. Thank you, Mr. Acting Speaker.
Notices? Honourable members, question time. The Honourable Governor for Oro.
Thank you. Speaker, the question I wish to ask, or the series of questions, is to the Minister for Health. And they are in regards to the issue of the Public Accounts Committee inquiry into health that was held in 2019. This inquiry was conducted for the purposes of investigating widespread corruption within the health department. Corruption that inevitably led to the loss of lives of many Papua New Guineans. And this inquiry found significant corruption whereby various individuals and organizations were said to have been involved. Now, to date, we need to understand exactly where this inquiry has taken us. And I raise this question because it's come to my attention that some of these companies are still operating and still very much involved with the health department. These particular companies I speak of, for instance, are those that are involved in the distribution of drugs, the logistics companies. Now, I paid a visit to the Providence General Hospital not too long ago in one of my routine inspections, and I spoke to the doctors there, and they told me that the issue of shortage of drugs is primarily due to these logistics companies not delivering these drugs on time or to the areas where they're supposed to deliver them to. And I was surprised to find that the companies named are the same companies that were revealed or exposed in that inquiry. So from 2019 till now, these companies are still very much operating with impunity. Now this particular company, and I won't name this particular company, operating in Oro province, does not have a warehouse, does not have the wherewithal, and it gets this drug from the area medical store and then keeps it under its house and distributes it at will and whim, making it very difficult for the PHA. The PHA has to actually fund the distribution of these drugs again, when this company is already paid to do so. This company was highlighted in that inquiry as being one of the bad actors. That should have been immediately, that their contract should have been terminated. But they're still there, engaged and operating. So my questions are these. Can the health minister advise us as to what he is doing with this inquiry report? Does he have a team that's going through that report to ensure that the recommendations are implemented? Now I know that his previous ministers had made an attempt to do that, but the beast within that organization seems to have stymied the efforts. They couldn't do it. That's the reality. Now, Minister, you're doing a magnificent job, and I must commend you for this. But these companies, these insidious characters and creatures that are operating in there, that are threatening the lives of our people, need to be dealt with. So, Minister, can you explain to us if you have put together such a team, and if not, why not, and when will you do this? And can those recommendations in that PAC inquiry of 2019 be implemented once and for all? Thank you.
The Honorable Minister for Health.
Thank you. Deputy Speaker, thank you very much for this important question raised by the Governor of Oro. First, the Department of Health is fully aware of the 15 recommendations that came out from a public council inquiry in 2019. We have established a task force in the department. That's what I'm aware of at the moment, and I will give a full report on what we have done and where we are today with regard to implementation of the 15 recommendations from PAC. I'll give a report on Friday this week, so to this Parliament, if the Speaker can allow me to give a report this week. With regard to the person supplying medical supplies out of Oro, we will look into that, and I'll get a full information on that as well, and to establish this particular person or particular business entity and find out what is actually happening. So I'll report back to Parliament. That's the answers to this particular question raised by the Governor of Oro. Just to make some clarification on, just use this opportunity to say today on this floor of Parliament, in the past we have a push system, now in this regard pull system. A push system is usually the past where we have, as you all know, we have a 100% health center kits that were being supplied right across the country, supported by the Government of Australia especially. When we are waiting for the normal procurement of the department, Martin supplies come through, there's a push system that just push. There's a standard list of medical supplies that they will just push throughout the health system in the country in the past. So what has happened was you got plenty of storage space. Now many of those were actually expired. Now plenty only used long health center and at post level, because most of those are supposed to be used in category A drugs were supposed to be used only by doctors, hospitals, now health facilities, along like urban clinics where doctors stop. So we have found out that there was a lot of wastage, so we installed a pull system. At the moment we embark on this only a pull system. Pull system is where requiring more health facilities, must maintain more truck control or order blow all the time, every month. Every month, somebody at the health center must be doing maintaining a stock control of where they are in terms of their respective orders or drugs. Now, put this supply go along provincial medical store. Over the province, today you got provincial medical stores right across the country. Now also ordering all medical supply belong all area medical stores. We have 5 area medical stores in the country where all provincial transit medical stores is order blow. And then all health facilities, centers, health centers, districts, they get the supplies from the provincial transit medical stores. So what we have, Padili, we have Wewak, Boran, Wamlastablo Wewak, Wamlastablo Lay, that's 3, Wamlastablo again, and Wamlastablo Kokopo, that's 5 of these area medical stores in the country. And then we have, right across our provinces, we also have provincial transit medical stores. What is happening is there should be a communication between what is at the provincial transit stores. Now when something is area medical stores, there must be communication. As referring to the question raised by the good opposition leader yesterday, we have an M supply system that monitors what we have at the moment. We have a on-time record of what we have today in all the area medical stores in the country. Now we got provincial transit stores. Now we got all supply to. We know the stock level of each of the pharmacists at the respective hospitals. So the hospital too must order all provincial transit stores too. So there must be somebody there monitoring the stock control every month, and then placing the orders every month. That's a full system, depending on the requirement and the demand. So what has happened is we have found out through the system that there is nobody. Most of the cases online is making sure they'll track control and how to make work blow. So for example, in one of the we found out from example, taking a point in example of Alatau, area medical store, there was some indicating showing on our M supply system that it's about 68% of the health facilities, health stocks there, they were actually nearing expiring dates. So all members of parliament, next time when your health facility is saying that all nagat margin stop lo you try to go and ask him along provincial transit store stop away. Na area medical store stop away. Na if you try to go and look him also all your stacks of medical stores that are supposed to be going to respective areas, they are still in there. So if you assist to look sim card na assist lo support will logistic. So I'm just getting out of it.
We have a point of order. Governor for...
Mr. Speaker, this point of order is a wonderful opportunity for me to raise another issue with the good minister. That the transit warehouse that he is talking about, well, the one built in Oro was built through a very corrupt process. We highlighted it to the department, and it still there hasn't been completed, hasn't been built yet. So we don't have a transit warehouse because the National Department of Health, some years ago when I raised this with them, had failed to attend to that building that they had built through a very corrupt process. That building is still there, unoccupied, unused, and it's not fit for the purpose that it was built. So, good minister, please make an undertaking that you will also look at this particular building in your list of things that you're going to do from these questions I have asked. Thank you.
Honorable Minister, you continue on with your reply.
Thank you again. Deputy Speaker, Dr. Glo, they respond to the Governor of Oro. I will be going to Oro next week to see the warehouse myself and see the particular area. And so we looking at it, good report the cameras. Look, Savelo, slab facility. He also want there's a warehouse here and when one process now only make him. So by me, Oro, there's I know that you have done a lot of good work there, operating the other that needs to be commissioned after some years. And extra facilities coming back on. I'll come to Oro next week and visit that place. But I'll give a full report on the questions that discussed regarding the PhD recommendations this week Friday. Thank you, Deputy Speaker.
Honorable members, you all sit down. I'll take is that a point of order or a supplement? A point of order. What's your point of order?
Mr. Speaker, in the response of the good minister, a very hard-working minister, he also mentioned the M medical system. Governments have spent a lot of money on that system, and that system's duty and responsibility is to monitor every provincial hospital in the country. And if there is a shortage, it's supposed to give a signal. It should begin to create some excitement in your department to say that Alatau General Hospital is critically short with this medicine, or Oro for that matter. What is the point or use of having a system that is built for that purpose, and yet your departmental heads or those who are supposed to be monitoring the system cannot pick up those shortfalls? I say this because, Minister, leaders, people are dying right throughout Papua New Guinea. If you're not going to the hospitals or you're not flying coffins home or attending house cries, then you have a problem already, because the country is in a critical shortage of medical drugs. And we have a system there.
Opposition leader.
Mr. Speaker, we have a system there that the minister, good minister, has spoken about. You need to have somebody sitting there 24/7, monitoring that and informing the office and the secretary's office that there is a critical shortage of drugs to that province or that district, or for that matter, throughout the country. Thank you.
Honorable Opposition Leader, I don't see that your point of order is a point of order. You are making a statement in debate to the minister's reply. So anyway, you already made your statement. The honorable member for Kabum.
Problem long housing. Asking long Mr. Minister, asking long Speaker, and Bagolo say Minister Loyal. This is in regard to Engao Hospital. Engao and Mr. Inside long, late city, where me housing international community planted population of Papua New Guinea start long and look out. The last Mr. asking me, Minister, where you are aware, was yes, almost 2 weeks ago. One blood time an incident where blackout may come up, na 7 Plamanda. Minister, you are well, this law no. Suppose this law me resort power blackout, me like Minister Blong. Power 2 must clear this law. And ask him too must go long and too long and must clear him why reason why suppose no got adequate power supply columns la house if we on around him scan on around him all city scans or one him all power me require him long and run him all machines and slata come up. Is it for the reason that power me suppose blackout na this like come up? Okay, then suppose you got standby generator, why at the same time generator off? Mr. Minister, suppose there's a problem inside Lonsla PHA from Morobe, in a by talking people from Morobe and people from Papua New Guinea. Why? One a mass, that the generator wasn't working on that day, the very day. Suppose Lonsla die and come up because of Nogat Marasin. Minister, you find out now you're talking me black. Why not? Suddenly, 7 people dead on the same day. Not two. I think Cube Lodge last him, Blomi 2, Kolong, or Arab member last him, or PHA, suppose they no manage him, or medical supplies, or Marasin Blomi Black, or rural areas. We plan him to die along, or districts Blomi Black Salong, Morobe, where no man name is the number. Minister, suppose let me come up attention, blue or no God. You working one and Sunday, long address him this heavy. Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
The Honorable Minister for Health.
The President relating to Morobe Province, Maki Mouse, Local Department of Health, Travel Country, funding of PHAs. Firstly, I'm making comment today to put on record. I governed today as of 22nd of October. From the operational funds, the government made allocated 569 million kinal operational funds along with the PHAs this year. Today, it's releasing 347 million. That's about 58% of funding released today to PHAs. For Morobe Province, PHA only gives them about 68% of funding loan. Out of all the PHAs, Morobe Province gives them PHA gives them 68%. And so side of funding, we got some as well as funding. Medical supplies, agreed to record some last 2 weeks ago. All the supplies local Engao, Morobe, PHA into the companies for last 2 weeks. So I'm depend now over the one facilities for primary healthcare. Kiss him put him order blow supply credit store. Kiss supply blow have. Tim looks up also he got the area medical store the way even burned last year. Last year, the government allocated him about 20 million kina this year lo rebuild him this nubla area medical store. Today them released finished 15 million kina release go finish. Tender pro is now on, and I appeal to the NPC team. It's very slow. Can they fast track the NPC requirement and process so that this project or area medical store must fast track na complete money go finish. Na project go all. Na the Department of Health keep money stop now waiting my process to go through. All this me related go along having a good storage facility in place na kiso marsin come in time na make also. Some information I'm just sharing with today. Kami lo point lo power supply as outage lo Enga hospital mixing report lo CEO lo happen to lo a big concern on the 18th of October lo up 9 p.m. lo afternoon 9 p.m. lo night na power come back lo 5 p.m. lo Sunday lo afternoon. I'm close to also 20 hours power blackout lousy. A big lousy you got power blackout. Even 3 minutes of power blackout lousy can big a problem. Even 1 minute. And 1 minute too long, housing power blackout is a serious problem. Now this line 20 hours. 9 p.m.
Minister, we have a point of order.
Mi hari minister salat na totok na. Narpla minister responsible lo power sendal lo hapna. You know, we have a serious issue in lay, but there's no problem totok long and we work to one kind. Oga the province marang to one kind. And the government is complaining. The minister should be telling us what the solutions are.
That's right, not complaining.
Not complaining. No, it's not an answer. The people want answers. He's not answering, Mr. Speaker. He's complaining.
Correct, he's complaining.
Honorable Governor for speaking. I think the minister is now on the question to answer, so I'll allow the minister to continue. Honorable
Thank you.
Minister.
I'm just stating the fact what has happened. I'm just stating the fact what has actually happened because member Bloim asked him, he got power blackout lo have now. He got the line here die. Also, I talk clear also yes, he got power blackout. Na report come also 20 hours straight power blackout now. One standby generator blow supposed to kick in area even been walked to. So we have actually established all these facts now that equal management now we got board staff long, make sure that all these things are happening. I'm just presenting the report that actually happened on this particular date, on the 18th to 19th. Actually, we do not agree. We condemn these particular arrangements, and each of the PHEs they are responsible. PHEs are responsible. They've given money. They're supposed to make sure that there's a standby every time system in place.
Tupla generator bagarap because blackout over 3 days. Standby generators for any of you that have been to school are not supposed to run for 24 hours. Or supposed to cut in, now only work 8 hours, now only go off. We are going to.
Honorable Governor.
No, me like him Nipla yet. Me like him Octary power I come now.
Honorable Governor.
I'm sick of PLG power.
Honorable Governor, I resume your seat. Your point of order, out of order. The Honorable Minister, you continue on your. I cannot allow for you to debate on the question that is being answered. This is question time. So allow the Minister to.
Thank you very much, Deputy Speaker. Yes, the result, the reason for the blackout, I'm affecting my generator blow housing. Generator blow housing now, generator in open. I'll get some issue long and I'll try my best to straighten him. That actually, that number of hours resulted in yes, we can talk clear. Remember I talk law of 7 blood die, but he got report the camera CEO lo up to 5 blood die. He got 5 blood die come out. 1 blood die me die time only work long, only wait long emergency department. Somebody was rushed to emergency department during the time when there was a blackout, so unfortunately I lose a life man. Now you got 4 blood where they were expected deaths. I mean also prognosis long and poor and they were actually waiting to die. I'm also sorry Rosla. You got some line where prognosis poor.
We have a point of order.
Can the good health minister withdraw that statement?
You don't pass prognosis on patients and you don't sort of pass a verdict on their life. It's totally wrong. You are not God to pass their judgment. So can you withdraw the statement, please?
Honorable Member, your point of order is in order. Honorable Minister, you can stress on your reply. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Just want to say that there were 5 deaths, and during that particular period where power blackout, there were 5 that I come up now. In people sorry, Igolo slightly come up. That's what we're doing now is yes, I'm an unfortunate situation of power blackout law in Enga Hospital. Enga Hospital kami big lausik in the city. Na emi support him to start the Morobe PHA. Na emi start also 10 districts inside the Morobe. 10 districts. Population blow laboration close to 1 million. That's a lot. And many of the deliveries will come long Enga Utasol. One can also mention the Ogatol Mama Lakare Mokotolo PMJ na start. So if you look him, Engao is actually stressed out in trying their best to look after many of the cancer patients are now going to Engao at the moment because of reopening of cancer facility. We have 800 line go now long cancer facility in Engao as I speak today after reopening. That's actually saving themselves a lot of money. So apart from looking at the cancer patients, they are also forced to look after every others. A report comes only got to 100, close to 200,000 line only column emergency department now outpatient last year. That's a lot. That's a lot. So come back now, long small PHA team long have organized small system long now. Steady ma the more PHA Luduk law how they gonna reorganize the health delivery primary health care long Engao within the Lay City. The way forward is make call upon our landlord, the business sectors Lay please I appeal to them. Today they have a business rep on the PHA board to come in where they are because they might take him 3 or 4 weeks. Look, see one part, stand by generate the blow along Enga Hospital. That's coming overseas. They will need to fix that. They might take him 3 or 4 weeks. So when they are doing this, I'm always spending close to some 5,000 liters of fuel every 24 hours, and that's a lot of money. Now me appealing along online law lay suppose all our business houses they can come forward and support Enga during this period of this time of stress to come in. Only you see money blow, but suppose you got some way where business line can come in or anyone come in, and me like appeal to the Minister for Health. Enga need him assistance. Enga also at the moment they need our support. They need our support. We need to come in and support where we can. They're trying their best. Government give money, but that's where we are. That's the situation in Migatla Enga. It will need about 3 more weeks.
Honourable Minister, we have a point of order.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. The good Minister has just been providing a rambling response to very, very simple and serious questions raised by both the Governor and the member for Kabum. Can he just confirm how much money he's received from the budget, and why is he saying that they're trying their best, your best is simply not good enough? How much money has he received to say that they still need all the help they can get from business sector? Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
Honourable Member, I've listened to your point of order, but point of order is like you asking a new question in a point of order. So I think the Minister have taken note of what you said. I'll allow him to finish up his reply. Minister.
Thank you, Deputy Speaker. The CEO is actually doing a recruitment of up to 500 more staff into the Morobe PHA as I speak. And the government committed 233 million this year. We will see an increase of 7,000 workforce in the PHA system. Morobe PHA is recruiting another 500 to actually support them as well. But again, the way forward, which I've recommended in the department, is there will be we want to see a system where Morobe begat PHA belong separate lo Enga housing. A minimal Port Moresby Hospital operating by itself, and they have their own board, they have their own management team because some big set up to us. By arrangement where Morobe PHA operate outside of Enga Hospital. These are some of our points that we're considering at the moment, so that there's additional resources for health coming to Morobe province. And some of the things we can't learn at the moment. But we'll talk about Australia. We know that the government of Australia committed so much funds to upgrading the current Enga Hospital. But again, coming to the point, we will, Department of Health, fully supporting Enga the situation is at the moment. we are giving them support, and we'll continue to stand by them to make sure that we resolve this power issue as soon as possible. Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
We have a supplementary. The member for Waware.
Thank you,
What's
Deputy
your
Speaker.
supplementary?
My question is in support to the first question with regard to Engau Hospital. Engau Hospital serve 8 provinces, and transit point belong all the islands province na Marang too. So it's a very important hospital in this country. Now, Mr. Minister, you cannot solve all the problems. You cannot solve all the problems. Some problems are very underlying issues that affect the health of Engau Hospital. So you need the help from the parliamentarians, and we have the Health Matters Committee in this house. Mr. Speaker, through you, I would like to ask if the Minister for Health can advise the Chairman for Health Matters Committee to conduct an inquiry into Engau Hospital. This is not only power issue. This is not only power issue. We have patient management issue. We have medicine issue. We have all sorts of issues in Engau Hospital. So, as the Minister, you have the directive to advise the Chairman for Health Matters in the Parliament to conduct the inquiry. I want to put it on record. The Parliament, if you need committee members, we parliamentarians are here. We can bring the CEO of PNG Power to the inquiry. We can bring everybody to the inquiry and ask them, what's the problem with Engau Hospital? We use Engau Hospital as the test case if PHA is working or not.
Order.
Yeah, so I'm asking the Minister, through you, Deputy Speaker, to advise the Chairman. I will write to the Chairman, but Minister, please, we need your support to get the Chairman for Health Matters to treat Engau Hospital as a special case and look into it. There are many members of the community who wish to come and participate in that inquiry and raising these issues. We open up to the public of Morobe so that they can listen to what is really happening to Engau Hospital. Thank you, Deputy Speaker.
The Honorable Minister.
Thank you, Deputy Speaker. I thank the member for Warrior for this simple question. I just look forward to the letter from the Chairman of the Special Parliamentary Committee on Health Matters so that we can facilitate this audit coming to Engau Hospital, Engau for Morobe PHA. Thank you.
The Honorable Member for Hiri.
Thank you, Deputy Speaker, for giving me the opportunity to address this House. Before I raise these very important questions relating to the Pukpuk Treaty, I want to take this time to acknowledge the presence of my constituents from Gairia Primary School who are in the gallery today. And my constituents from other institutions like Southbridge as well. Deputy Speaker, before I do, I want to firstly start by acknowledging the efforts of the good Defense Minister and his Secretary to open public discussions on the treaty by addressing the nation on Talkback. I was able to watch a live stream version of this and have taken the Minister's advice and sought questions and concerns from my constituents. And there have been many questions raised and comments both positive and negative. Our job as legislators is to take every serious concern.
So, I interrupt you to ask. Your question is to the Minister for
My
Defense,
question
right?
is to the Prime Minister.
Prime Minister.
Yes, because the issue will cover two important sectors. That is the Ministry of Defense and the Ministry of Foreign Affairs.
Go ahead.
So our job as lawmakers, Mr. Speaker, is to take every serious concern into consideration and ensure there is widespread support for the decisions we make.
on behalf of our people. So the questions I have are about sixfold. The first one to the Prime Minister is that a serious concern raised by my constituents is that this treaty was not tabled and debated in Parliament before it was signed by this government. Why the rush? Were there extenuating circumstances that the people should be aware of? Is Papua New Guinea under threat? Are we going to war? Hence the urgent and immediate need to execute a treaty of such prominence and caliber with our Australian counterparts for their military support and interventions. The second question is, this treaty focuses on traditional military interoperability and external threats, which arguably align more with Australia's interests rather than Papua New Guinea's. Most pressing internal security issues such as tribal violence and law and order. We need more able-bodied and trained police and defense personnel to keep our people safe. We don't need to be losing the most capable Papua New Guineans to foreign nations. I see how the agreement can help build a more professional defense force, but can the Prime Minister advise this House how this treaty will help to stabilize our country's biggest threat, which is a threat from within? Our biggest threat is not from external forces, but our bigger threat is from within. Our people, the intermingling and tribal mixes that are happening on a daily basis, thanks to the most celebrated program of Connect PNG. I see how this agreement can help. How can the Papua New Guinea Defence Force retain top-tier personnel given that the treaty seeks to provide a much more attractive recruitment avenue for a foreign force? There's also been discussions about recruitment. The Deputy Prime Minister of Australia and Minister for Defence himself in an interview suggests that even that recruitment is limited to Papua New Guineans with permanent residency in Australia. So it is not really open for Papua New Guineans in Papua New Guinea to participate.
The Honourable Minister for Defence, what's your point of order?
Thank you. The Prime Minister will answer the question as asked, but just want to make it very clear that the Deputy Prime Minister of Australia made a comment in that by 1st of January next year, recruitment will start, but that is while we putting the process together to get PNG citizens to go and serve in the ADF. While we're doing that, PNG citizens who have PR status will be the first
Honourable Minister,
to join the ADF.
Honourable Minister, I will interrupt and stop you from that point of order. It's like you are now replying to the questions raised by the member. The question is raised to the Prime Minister, so I will not allow for that point of order. I will
That is correct.
allow the Honourable Member to continue.
That is correct, but I was just providing some clarity on the statement that is made.
The Honourable Prime Minister will answer to that question. So, Honourable Member.
Thank you, Deputy Speaker. The third question to the good Prime Minister is that Papua New Guinea military experts warn that focusing resources on Australian priorities could hinder the organic development and professionalisation of the PNG Defence Force. The PNG Defence Force currently suffers from poor funding and low operational readiness, and the treaty's terms might further weaken its independent capacity. So can the Prime Minister tell this House how the government plans to avoid this outcome? A clear example is our premium training facility at Goldie Barracks within Hirikwayari. The facilities have all dilapidated. There is no attention, no real interventions from our Papua New Guinea government. So is this treaty going to assist the upgrade of the road to Goldie Barracks, the upgrade of the training facilities, the general upkeep for staff and also trainees, and the once upon a time used swimming pool for the kids in Goldie? The fifth question, Mr. Speaker, is that the Pukpuk Treaty fundamentally changes Papua New Guinea's non-aligned foreign policy by legally obligating it to defend Australia, as if they needed our help. In a region with intense strategic rivalry between US and its allies, which include Australia and China, a universal foreign policy allows Papua New Guinea to engage with all parties based on our own national interests at the forefront. This prevents us from being forced into taking sides, which could compromise its sovereignty or damage other important relationships that we have on the international scene. It allows us to focus on domestic priorities and addressing them with multiple partners. That is the benefit of friend to all, enemy to none. So the good Prime Minister assured this House that this treaty will not impact our ongoing development partnerships, if at all, and be very clear on this. The next question to the Prime Minister, Mr. Speaker, is that despite early uncertainties, the AUKUS, AU-KUS Security Pact is proceeding with the leaders of the United States, United Kingdom and Australia reaffirming their commitment to the deal earlier this month. So the plan for Australia to acquire nuclear power submarines remains in place. The Pukpuk Treaty, as it stands, grants Australia access to PNG's military facilities and areas under an agreed facilities and areas framework, which would include naval bases for naval vessels and submarines. This is explicitly detailed in the Pacific Island neighboring in the treaty and is intended to facilitate defense cooperation and modernization of the PNG Defense Force. As highlighted by many of our PNG Pacific Island neighbors, there is significant regional sensitivity and trauma surrounding nuclear issues due to past nuclear weapons testing. Papua New Guinea is a signatory to the South Pacific Nuclear Free Zone, also known as the Treaty of Rarotonga. PNG signed this treaty on September 16, 1985, and ratified it on September 15, 1989. Can the good Prime Minister assure this House that Australia will not place nuclear submarines in our waters for any purposes during the time frame of this treaty? Can the Prime Minister assure this House that Papua New Guinea is not planned or will be used again by a war between foreign parties on our soil, and thereby risking the lives of our people, the civilians, and the life that we are hoping to develop since 1975, or since the first white man landed on these shores, and the life that we now know. And finally, Mr. Speaker, according to the reports in Australian media, under the Submarine Rotational Force West initiative, US and UK nuclear-powered submarines will rotate through the HMAS Stirling naval base in Western Australia. This rotational presence, Mr. Speaker, beginning as early as 2027, will allow Australian crews to gain experience operating and sustain nuclear technology. Could the Prime Minister assure this House that Australia and its allies will not conduct training exercises in our territorial waters with these nuclear submarines? Finally, Mr. Speaker, through this treaty and in the process of engaging in this treaty, a newspaper article of great concern was published by our local media that a particular district was a recipient of 20 million Australian dollars for support under the treaty. Is it also the case that many of us in this House will be receiving that endowment of 20 million kina each under this treaty? Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
The Honourable Prime Minister.
All right, Mr. Deputy Speaker, let me take this time to thank the member for Hiri Koeri for asking a series of important questions. I wish he has my number. I wish he had sent me earlier the 7 questions in writing so I could do justice to the worthiness of the question, but nonetheless, when he's possibly here, he could understand the magnitude of trying to respond on your feet to a series of important questions like this. I advise all members of Parliament to get a good response. It is advisable you sometimes utilize the provision of a standing order to put questions on notice, so befitting response could be rendered to response to such an important question. Nonetheless, 7 questions were asked. I try to do summary succinctly as much as possible without averting the core issues. First and foremost, Mr. Speaker, in respect to the treaty and the ratification process, by the way, to all children from Gaire who are here, Dabai Namona, I'm so happy to see all of you here. Gaire is a village that is closer to my heart, and I look forward to visiting you sometimes into the future. I first visited Gaire village in 1989 or 1990. I have a family friend there, and I want to say thank you to the kids, headmistress, headmaster, and the teachers for bringing children into our precinct. Your members ask a very important question. Our Constitution, Mr. Deputy Speaker, Section 206 of our Constitution, and lawyers amongst us, including the member himself, can have the leisure of reading Section 206 of our Constitution. Section 2 of our Constitution was the basis in which the 1975 Visiting Forces Act was launched by our founding fathers of our country. Under that Visiting Forces Act, incongruent with our Defense Act, many foreign forces have partnered PNG Defense Force since 1975, period. The construct of this treaty is not outside of the ambit of our national constitution, totally within the provision of our national constitution. Within Section 206 and the Visiting Forces Act, this treaty was constructed. Mr. Deputy Speaker. In as far as our own relations with Australia is concerned, the 3 battalions we have, the Moyem Battalion, the Taroma Battalion, the Igam Battalion, as well as the headquarters at Mari Barracks and the training depot or training facility at Taroma, was part of the Australian government set up prior to 1975. At 16 September 1975, they became Papua New Guinea. Connotes a shared history with Australia. Like we have defense relations with all bilateral nations, our country have utilized the provision of Section 206 to allow for visiting forces to land in our shores and partner our defense force. In Australia, we had 1977 Status of Force Agreement under the then Somare government. Some 47 years later, in 2013, I beg your pardon, 37 years later if I'm not wrong. I'm not as smart as some of you, my mathematics do rust. In 2013, the then government, under Prime Minister O'Neill, signed the Defense Cooperation Agreement, an elevation from Status of Force Agreement to a Defense Cooperation Agreement. Connoting again, and they were the frontiers. When you have Defense Cooperation Agreement, it's elevated from Status of Force Agreement. And so in 2013, we arrived at that juncture in our 2 military relationship. And in 2025, at request by PNG government and not request by Australia government, put it down in writing. And I'm willing to go down on this. As Prime Minister, my number 1 job is, first and foremost, I'm the number 1 security officer of this country. Act from external threat and internal threat. And so, as the Chief Security Officer of this country, we invited a force that we can read, we can speak, we have shared moral values with, to be part of our construct, elevating from a defense cooperation agreement to now a treaty-level relationship. By one stroke of a pen, we elevated PNG Defence Force capacity to the Australian force capacity. Mr. Deputy Speaker, my job at night, I'm not just localized worrying what territory will be. I worry about the 800 kilometers of land border we have. I worry about the 50+ kilometers of river border we have. And all in all, the 3 million square kilometers of water we have in our country. Not to mention the airspace. In the future, war is going to be fought at airspace. In future, war does take place. And I asked this question, I put the same question to all of us. What is it there for PNG Defence Force to contribute to Australia? In the event that there is an engagement today, tomorrow, under the treaty alliance, except possibly our geography. Capacity-wise, we have nil, or if not little, to provide to Australia in this treaty. We requested to the Australian government at the present state of our defence force. And you have every right, Mr. Speaker, the members have every right to ask me. PNG government should be investing funds in it. I beg you, if we are to invest funds, all of you forgo your DSIP and everything else, and let's invest $1 billion kina each every year to capacitate our PNG Defence Force to stand up. Our nation is not a small nation. Our nation is not like a small island nation tucked away in the middle of the Pacific or ocean elsewhere. We've got 3 million square kilometers of ocean to defend, over 10 million people to protect, over 462,840 square kilometers of land to defend. That's big. That's big. Systematically, and our defense plan is such where systematically the next 10 years, we must build a defense force to men on strength, 7,000. Reserve men, 3,000. And by this signing, hopefully within the next 10 years, we got 10,000 Papua New bloods who live in Australia and live in PNG, fly down, work, and become citizens in Australia to be serving as Australian Defence Force personnel, reporting to the Australian Defence Commander. But at call, in times of stress, at major call, they could be redeployed back in PNG. But sustenance, salary, capacity, operation, including flying planes, handling ship, technology, drone, whilst Australia may not be at the superpower capacity, don't ignore the fact that they have mid-sized capacity defense force. So it is in this context to capacitate our defense force to defend our sovereignty at the earliest so that we work domestically the next 10 years. I want to give assurance to this Parliament. This does not compromise our sovereignty one bit. The treaty was made public. As soon as we signed in Canberra, it was posted for the whole world to see, including all our bilateral partners. To date, no bilateral partner has an issue with this one. Every mature nation knows totally that nation and nation enter into partner. It is within the call of its nation to enter into partner. With other partner nations, they feel compatible. They feel they're in alignment.
Prime Minister, we have a point of order. Member for Chuabe.
Mr. Speaker, the good Prime Minister has quoted Section 206 of the Constitution, which clearly states that no member of the Defence Force shall serve in another nation, except where the NEC or the head of state gives the okay. This, to me, reeks executive overreach. The good question by the member for Hiri Kwarere was, why wasn't this brought into Parliament? Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
The Honourable Prime Minister.
Mr. Speaker, the process is on foot. This Parliament would have the privilege of the process of ratification. Every treaty is eventually brought into the Parliament. And I am reminded that it's Section 117. I may be wrong. Please don't quote me. You just quote me on a constitution. I'm not a constitutional lawyer, so I can run the risk of being quoted incorrectly here. But based on advice, every decision we take, government of the day, ministers don't do work on their own. We propose, and our state instrumentalities check the proposal. When every law is ticked off, then most important man, state solicitor of the land, ticks off that this proposal is congruent, is in order. Let's go down the path and get your point. I want to assure this country, this House, and a good member for Hiri Koeri, we cognizant to our national duties to be compliant to our national constitution. Our constitution allows for this path to be taken, all done in the interest of capacitating our defense force at the earliest in our own national plan within the next 10 years. 7,000 men on strength in PNG Defense Force, our PNG Defense Force own working condition, including police and CIS, will be relooked at, so they stepped up to match Papua New Guineans who are selected through an independent process to go and work in Australian Defense Force. By the time this is fully matured, you would have 17,000 Papua New Guineans who are working either in Australia, reporting to Australian Defense Force Commander, or 7,000 of them reporting to PNG Defense Force Commander. Among some of the negative decisions we took sometimes back 23 years ago, we eroded the value of our defense force to almost nothing. We eroded the value of a defense force to almost 19 in 2001, 2002. Well, this is different. To capacitate our PNG Defense Force, to stand as symbol of our sovereignty. And I want to throw in a caveat. Next year as we work through, we will demilitarize, we'll establish Bougainville as a demilitarized zone where Defense Force will not enter, but the construct of PNG Defense Force is to make sure we secure the land, water, territory of our country. And the rub-on effect, a ripple-on effect, is a positive ripple-on effect to police, CIS, and the entire ambience of the law and justice sector infrastructure in our country. I want to ask this House if the Speaker could give me the indulgence of picking up the copy of the question, and in a response through print media, we could make a fullest response, so every member of Parliament and the country is satisfied to the answer of this question. But also, when the ratification is brought to this House, we will place a notice. Each of you will have a thorough read-through the entire treaty document. As a provision, I think the member did ask on the non-alliance standing we have, from time to time within the ambit of non-alliance. Our defense must engage with other defense forces to work with. This doesn't compromise the non-alliance. Right in the heart of this treaty is a provision that says, at the point of critical decision-making of military engagements, the two defense commanders will make the call. The two defense commanders will make the call. And this treaty is subject to review on an annual basis. Our PNG Defense and Australian Defense Force forums will carry on to govern the framework to make sure that the intention of this treaty doesn't suppress our two nations' sovereignty, but protect our two sovereignty as we work side by side, step by step into the future. Something you can never ignore is geography and close proximity. Unfortunately, or fortunately, we are here stuck with each other forever. We have to make do with what we have, and we choose, this side choose to work with Australia to prop up our defense, work side by side, strengthen to protect our shared space in Pacific and on the face of the planet. Thank you.
Honorable member, our question time have already been lapsed. I'll take your point of order.
So, Mr. Speaker, I thank the good Prime Minister for the attempt to answer these questions. One particular important one, leading on from his last response, Mr. Speaker, is in relation to the sovereignty of Papua New Guinea as a state. In the agreement itself, there is a provision that compels Papua New Guinea, in the event of its intentions to engage with another, let's say China, then the Papua New Guinea is compelled to consult Australia by this treaty? Does the good Prime Minister agree that this is watering down our independence as a nation to engage freely with all other global parties in the world in the interest of trade, in the interest of security, in the interest of foreign policy? This actually does water down our universal policy on friend to all, enemy to none.
Honourable Member, your point of order is like you're asking a new question. I'll take from the Prime Minister, who have requested through the chair to ask you to put your questions in writing to him, so I will also ask you to include that in your question writing to the Prime Minister, and Prime Minister can reply in a later time. Honourable members, our question time has lapsed. Honourable members, I wish to acknowledge the presence in the public gallery of the students and the teachers of Gaire Primary School, Hiri Koire District in the Central Province, and grade 6 students and teachers from Hagara Primary and Mosby Northwest National Capital District, and teachers and grade 9 students and assisting staff from Southbridge International School in the National Capital District, and a third-year student majoring in political science at the University of Papua New Guinea, Port Moresby, and Northwest National Capital District, and the Women's Ministry of George Brown Memorial of the United Church of Papua New Guinea in the National Capital District. On behalf of the Parliament, I extend the visitors a warm welcome. Papers, Prime Minister.
Mr. Speaker, pursuant to statute, I present the final reports of the Constitutional and Law Reform Commission on the provincial inquiry into the form and system of government, and on the election of Prime Minister by the people, Volume 1 and Volume 2.
Is the leave granted? Leave granted.
Mr. Speaker, I ask leave of Parliament to make a statement in connection with this report.
The question is that the motion, the statement be agreed to. Those in favour say aye. Aye. Those against say no. Ayes have it.
Mr. Speaker, Mr. Deputy Speaker, I want to firstly say thank you to Chairman, the Honourable Saki Soloma, and the Constitutional Law Reform Commission team for going out to the country and engaging with the country and compiling this report that we are handing to Parliament, our first business of government right after our 50th anniversary celebrations. Mr. Speaker, as the present Prime Minister, it is with immense privilege and honor to present to this House the final report on the review of the form and system of government, the election of Prime Minister by the people, and the necessary recommendations that is attached with this. This report by the CLRC is by far a very comprehensive audit into the system of government we have been using so far since 1975. As I present this report, I want this Parliament to note that whether you are sitting in the opposition side or in the government side, the report speaks to all of us. It carries the voice of our people, their concerns, cries, and the hardships, the challenges they have been facing for so long, and you will realize this reform or this report covers a wide range of issues and subjects. Papua New Guinea has gone through different phases, trialing various systems of government since 1975. 50 years have passed, and we now have a report for us to possibly, as members of Parliament, take through this report, take a constructive view on what we must do for our country going forward. This report before the Parliament came about after my government tasked CLRC to undertake a review or inquiry to assess the form and system of government and propose necessary recommendations back to government and to this parliament. The review had to be undertaken because important considerations and issues that lingered for nearly 50 years, or over 50 years now, needed addressing, both systematically and structurally. Any government of a country will always continue to assess and feel the pulse of the society and see whether it is in fact meeting the goals and aspirations to achieve national vision. And so we decided that the country must pause and reflect as we reach 50 years and see whether we are on the path doing the right thing to achieve all our national goals and aspirations, and including having a review on our national strategies, such as MTDP, Vision 2050, our national goals and directive principles, and of course, the mother law constitution. Unfortunately, realization of these goals and visions can easily be subverted if the focus and attention of all elected members, including the Prime Minister, is to divert to trivial matters, such as political maneuvering to maintain numbers, and less on the important matters, development, growth, and improving the standard of life of our people. In such situations, the people have the power to address some of the bottlenecks to ensure state apparatus, as the Office of Prime Minister, is accountable and focus on the mandated business and affairs, and that is to run the country. Therefore, the review was about looking at Papua New Guinea's government system, whether it has worked or not, and arrest influences that have bogged down the time and effort of the Prime Minister and members of Parliament, and make it more focused on the interests of the people, whom the Prime Minister will be directly accountable to. Few parliaments back, I will not forget former Prime Minister, our third Prime Minister, the Right Honourable Pius Wingti, standing on his feet in this house, saying that he was busy managing numbers and not managing country. This review and report looks into this as well as others, and I want to ask all of you, please take some time to look into the findings. The CLRC has consulted our people. The findings does speak into this. At the same time, the review was about having an efficient and effective national system in place that holds the country together and delivers services to our people. The government, through NEC Decision 395 of 2021, through the head of state, directed CLRC to undertake this review, looking at relevant laws such as the National Constitution, Organic Law on forms of local level government, as well as numerous acts of Parliament. CLRC was to report back to Parliament within 18 months, I beg your pardon. Specific and very relevant terms of reference were issued to CLRC to consider in this review. These terms of reference are: number one, is the form and system of government suitable for a modern Papua New Guinea as it moves into its 50th anniversary? If not, what are the alternatives available? Second question, should the Prime Minister be elected by the people? Right now, James Marape is possibly not popular, and some of you are very popular, could easily get through this process. Number three, should we have a bicameral parliament? Who should be elected to the lower and upper houses? Number four, should we keep the three-tier system of government? If not, what are the alternatives? Number five, how best should women be represented in Parliament? Number six, what areas of the electoral system, such as the qualification for election, criteria for nomination, election period, election disputes, should be improved for a modern Papua New Guinea? And lastly, but not the least, and not the only TOR, but for this moment, we decide how best can we improve the political party system. The terms of reference were too broad, therefore, to give a sharp focus, the broad terms of reference were rescoped for only four thematic areas, which are system of government, that covers a three-tier system of government in Papua New Guinea, parliamentary system, regarding the unicameral and bicameral design of the legislature, head of state with reference to British monarchy under Section 82 of the Constitution, and election of the Prime Minister, which is about the way Prime Minister is nominated or elected on the floor of Parliament. And if I had seen a greater light before, I would have included matters like how is the opposition leader elected or removed, or how is the speaker elected or removed. Currently, one of them is a contentious issue on the floor before court. There's a vacuum in law that we need to fix so that the opposition has a firm place. Parliament functions, Parliament's constitutions are also equal to the executive government. Some of the reset should be relooked at. And so we process to support CLRC to do the work. The launch of CLRC review was in February 2023. CLRC, together with representatives of sister government agencies, stakeholders, took the 7 terms of reference out to the people to got the views during nationwide consultation in all our 21 provinces and the autonomous region of Bougainville between March to July 2023. And again, I want to place on record my appreciation for the Honorable Saki Soloma. He chose not to be minister, but to work in this space, to contribute to the country. And I want to place on record our government and this parliament and the country's appreciation for the second-term MP who profited a place in cabinet to contribute to the work of public policy to look at the greater construct of our country. So the Honorable Member for Okapa, Honorable Saki Soloma, please note your country places on record our appreciation for your leadership. CLRC also utilized other research data collection methods such as provincial consultations with open forums in all major centers, focus group discussions with representation from women, youths, churches, and civil society organizations, written submissions from stakeholders, organizations, and individuals, technical papers from experts, seminar and panel discussion at higher learning institutions, feedback from online questionnaire accessed through Facebook, WhatsApp, and digital SMS blasts, feedback from manual questionnaires, feedback from radio talkback source, feedback from CLRC Facebook page, research paper on form and systems of government and the election of the Prime Minister, and international study tours to several countries for comparative purposes, including Australia, England, Fiji, Thailand, Malaysia, and Singapore. Mr. Deputy Speaker, this goes to show that this report is well researched and entirely backed by not only raw data from the views of the people, but also with evidence and support from technical reports and data and literature's reviews on specific areas relating to the terms of references. It also reflects on the professionalism, independence, integrity, and authority of this report. And importantly, it demonstrates the extent CLRC has gone to ensure that opportunity was given through various platforms for everyone to participate and contribute to the views in this report. And I beg you, if you have not known that this review was going on, then you must be doing something else when the review was going on. Following detailed analysis of all the information collected in the course of the nationwide consultation, the literature reviews comparison with government systems of other countries, and reference relevant laws, policies, existing frameworks, as well as CLRC's 2 previous reports on Constitutional Directive 1 and 2. CLRC, in its wisdom, was able to come up with a set of best possible recommendations that related to the terms of references. The recommendation of CLRC's view are sound, practical, appropriate, that best address the issues the review was intended to address. The report provides a total of 7 key recommendations with the relevant sub-recommendations on fundamental areas of the system of government, covering the election of Prime Minister, the 3-tier system of government, the parliamentary system, the head of state, women representatives of parliament, electoral system, and the political party system. The recommendations are as follows. Change the current system of government from 3-tier system to a 2-tier system. PNG should change its head of state from a constitutional monarchy to a non-executive president. The people of Papua New Guinea must directly elect the Prime Minister through the political party with the greatest number of elected MPs endorsed by that party, and the head of state must sanction the leader of this political party as a Prime Minister with a full term of government. Improving the electoral system and process for modern Papua New Guinea, creating more opportunities for women representation in Parliament through special measures including reserved seats, nominated seats and quotas system, improve political party system, and PNG should adopt a bicameral parliamentary system. Several terms of reference, especially the terms of reference on women representation in parliament, electoral system, and political party system, repeated the terms of reference CLRC had addressed in the previous constitutional directives. Number 1, on the review of the organic law on provincial and local level government, and constitutional directive number 2, on the review of the organic law on national and local level government elections. For these terms of reference, same recommendations in the reports of the previous reviews was simply adopted. All these recommendations include the sub-recommendations are explained in full detail in the report. Mr. Speaker, I want to assure you that the recommendations are made with the careful consideration to important factors, such as the need for effective service delivery, stability of government, decentralization, good governance, strong public institutions, and systems that are relevant to the current circumstances of the country. The recommendations were designed in such a way that the implementations would address a chain of associated issues that impact on the effective and efficient implementation of the system of government that we have had throughout the years. The recommendations addresses key issues that include, firstly, lack of service delivery in rural areas. Secondly, concentration of powers in Waigani. Thirdly, duplication of the roles of members of the provincial government, open MPs, and LLGs. Fourthly, no clear demarcation roles between the political leaders and the public servant. Fifthly, political instability and unnecessary destructive politics, resulting in wasted resource and missed opportunities. Sixth, lack of or limited economic growth to political instability. Seventh, head of state lacking real powers for good governance for the country, but only ceremonial powers. 8, questions of the relevance and effectiveness of the monarch as our head of state. 9, lack of good governance and accountability. 10, independence of the three arms of government, entrenching them. 11, law and order issues. 12, lack of effective administration of the public service machinery. 13, challenge of the electoral system. 14, challenge of the political party system. 15, non-genuine parties. 16, challenges of accountability and transparency in the work of national parliament. 17, lack of multi-interest representation in parliament. 19, limited opportunities for women represented in parliament. And lastly, but not the least, at this juncture, challenges of the present parliamentary system. As a government, we are confident in this report and the recommendations, and we are committed in implementing the recommendations for maximum outcome that meets the expectations of our people. But we put this for all of us as leaders to sit, talk, and as a generation passing through our 50th, each of us should pose a question on these findings established on both sides of the House, sit down, debate on what is the construct in fundamental constitutional institutions that carry our country. The construct must be better going forward into the future. Mr. Speaker, the Constitutional Planning Committee made its recommendations on the system of government and independence that were fitting for a new country then and has brought our country thus far. But after 50 years, it is time now we relook at the system that has carried us. The good is preserved, entrenched, amplified, including the separation of our three arms of government, and the deficiencies that we have identified in the last 50 years must be worked upon going forward. Mr. Speaker, so it is in this context that we have embarked on this review, reflect on the circumstances and the prospect of PNG the next 50 years from 2025. The report by CLRC, which is now before us, sets the direction for us to take for the growth, development, and prosperity of this country. As a government and as a country, we must not be scared of changes, however daunting it may be, especially the necessary change for progress and prosperity. This report with its recommendations are not intended to serve my own interests or the interests of this government. Rather, it is to serve the greater national interest of our country, a construct that is taken the same breath as other reforms has taken before. This is now tabled for us to read through, debate, argue, and collectively we all find a path forward. Our government is fortunate to be in this position at this nation, our nation's 50th anniversary. And we must look at how we've come, especially the systems of government that carries us, and propose a system, taking in the hindsight of the last 50 years, a system of government that does not compromise democracy, does not compromise transparency, but augments efficiency and effectiveness of a system, and for better governmental structures that is dispensing services to our people. If any other government were in office, I would see they would have embarked on this sort of review too. CLRC would have been engaged to conduct a review similar to this. Irrespective of whichever government is in power, the country needs us to review and have a look at the structure that has carried us and the consequential report with its recommendations. Government will come and go, but such report produced by credible state institutions, by CLRC, in this instance, a constitutional office, will be available for any government. If not this government, any government drawn as we attempt to manage the affairs of our country going forward into the future. Mr. Speaker, therefore, speaking objectively, this report demands support from both sides as we look into the objectives of the report and recommendations that cuts across political lines and tries to talk about meeting our people's needs and concerns. From the consultation, we have seen that our people want change after nearly 50 years of independence. Before 1975, our people wanted change as well, and that our forefathers, like the founding father of our country, the late Grand Chief Sir Michael Somare, and his generation facilitated change, granting independence. Our country has lived through that the last 50 years. Today, the ball is in our court for our generation to see what is the best structure of our country's government and our country's three arms of government and all institutions of states going forward. This call for all of us to have a read into this report and provide strong views that is concrete, that is substance, that is bipartisan, that is good for all of us going forward. Our people yearn for service delivery. I think it's about time we can look into what is a better structure. The independence of our judiciary, strengthening our parliamentary system, including, and my government is proposing, for instance, a separate funding to the office of the opposition leader. The opposition is resourced and equipped. Clarity around the process in the election of not just the Prime Minister, but the opposition leader and the Speaker. The Parliament as an institution needs to be tidied and relooked at. The committee system function, we work better going forward. And then we look at the executive arm. How is the Prime Minister elected? What's the accountability put around him? Is there limitations for term we could put on the Prime Minister's office so someone do not sit around thinking that that is bad right to be Prime Minister forever? He gets on, has a term, does his job, move on, the next person comes in. These are the conversations that is pertinent at the 50th so that we all have a positive construct to affirm the three arms of government, to look at the relevance of the head of state, what role they play, to look at defense force as we conversed earlier, and work on these sort of matters going forward. I want to thank CLRC, Chairman Solomon, and your team for doing an excellent job under limited resource. I place on record Secretary Dr. Mange Matthew and your team. They absolutely worked hard, utilizing limited resource, but achieving maximum result. I want to acknowledge those departments that assisted, Justice and Attorney General Department, Prime Minister and NEC, Provincial and Local Level Government, the Integrated Political Parties and Candidates Commission, National Planning and Monitoring Department, Treasury Department, Finance Department, National Economic and Fiscal Commission. We acknowledge the work that you all put into this report. I also acknowledge all heads of government who took time to contribute their views to this report. I also thank the people of Papua New Guinea who came forward and participate in the review and provide the views. It is important to engage our people. And they were engaged in the various modes of engagements I did point it out earlier. And I want to further acknowledge the provincial governments, all provincial governments who participated, the autonomous Bougainville government, the provincial administrators and officers that facilitated assisted CLRC, without whom CLRC would have had great difficulty in carrying out this important review and consultations with these respective provinces and Bougainville. I want to also make special mention and acknowledge the national parliamentarians who received our team in the province and participated in the consultation. These great leaders include two that have passed very recently. I want to pause to acknowledge the work of the late Governor of New Ireland, one of our constitutional fathers. Some of his words are captured in his report. I want to acknowledge the work of late Governor of Morobe, the Honorable Luther Wenge, a great constitutional defender and advocate of greater provincial government work and autonomy. I want to also acknowledge the work of Governor Pakop, Governor Rapa, Governor Marum, and of course, Minister for Civil Aviation, as then Minister of Civil Aviation, brother, member for Namatanai, and member for Mendes also placed on record here in his contribution, member for Mosby Northwest for your contribution, and a good member for Alatau. The member for Alatau, we thank you for your contribution. With this, Mr. Speaker, I would be commending this report to the House to look into a debate. It's now 50 years now. Some of these conversations should be out in open. We discuss clearly the debate between provincial government and the districts, the relationship between provincial government and national government, the relationship between provincial assembly and national parliament, the relationship between the parliament and the judiciary. Parliament makes law, judiciary reads law. What is the role of judiciary? Strengthen them, keep them independent, through arbitration and mediation into judiciary. And what is the role of executive? At the moment, executive and parliament have a coexistence that sometimes is not healthy for effectiveness work. All this needs to be relooked at so that we have clear demarcations, allow functions to run without compromising democracy, independence, transparency, good governance, responsibility. There's a call in this report. People want to elect a prime minister, but gives term limitations. 2 term, 1 term. Philippines, for instance, has 1-term president, 6 years, and then he moves on. But tidying the entire system, a reform without tidying the system inside will not be a reform. We saw the effect of 1995 provincial government reform. When someone decided to wake up one morning to throw away a good provincial government system, throw it away, and today, 30 years later, or 25 years later, 30 years later, I beg your pardon, we live with the consequence of an ill-baked, cooked reform that threw out provincial government system. This is not holy commandment. This is finding, put to the people's house. Read it, discuss it, talk about it. We got 1 year to go. 1 year to go. I gather our brothers from the other side are preempting the Supreme Court process and they're mounting a VONC, but doesn't matter. If they come in, or we maintain our government, this sort of discussion is relevant. Let's discuss on the engine room of the structures of our country and fix some of the deficiencies we carry so that future governments are at ease, serving their intended purposes, than managing politics all the time. Thank you too much. May God bless this country right after our 50th anniversary. This comes in for a discussion. This discuss and discourse. These discussions must set to the discourse that is better for our country, taking us from the first day out of our 50th to the next 50 as our country celebrates 100 years in 2075. Thank you too much. May God bless Papua New Guinea.
The Honourable Member for Okapa.
Deputy Speaker, I want to move that this report be accepted Parliament and on to debate.
Make a speech.
Okay, thank you, Mr. Deputy Speaker. I want to make my debate in support to this report. Deputy Speaker, it is a great honor and privilege for me as Chairman of the Constitutional Law Reform Commission to rise and speak in support of the report with a review of form and system of government, the election of the Prime Minister by the people, which has now been tabled in this Honourable House. This review was carried under my watch as the Chairman of CLRC. In fact, myself and my fellow commissioners led the inquiries throughout this review. Mr. Deputy Speaker, in the outset, let me thank the Prime Minister, the Honourable James Marape, for his visionary leadership in initiating and directing the CLRC to undertake
this comprehensive and historic review of our governance system. Prime Minister, your political will made this work possible. Mr. Deputy Speaker, this report is the culmination of over a year of dedicated work, guided by specific terms of reference, underpinned by wide-ranging public consultation, rigorous research, and comparative studies. The views of our people are at the heart of this report. They expressed without reservation their frustration and aspirations regarding how government system has impacted their lives, particularly with regard to the delivery of basic services. While some views were divided, a clear common concern emerged: the need for effective and efficient service delivery and for a system of government that works for everyone, regardless of location or status. Mr. Deputy Speaker, CLRC is legally empowered to employ various data collections methodologies which were necessary to ensure that all stones are not left unturned on discussion regarding the respective terms of reference. The report is not only people-driven but supported by expert analysis and robust data. Mr. Deputy Speaker, the research and the findings have well informed the Commission to put forward the 7 key recommendations, each addressing a fundamental area of governance. Let me assure this Honourable House that these recommendations have been made with careful consideration for political stability, governance efficiency, decentralization, and the long-term sustainability of a democratic institution, with ultimate aim achieving effective service delivery. These recommendations are systemic and are grounded in a very mandate and purpose of CLRC as the only constitutionally mandated law reform agency in the country. This means that the recommendations presented in this report are by necessity consistent with and aligned to the recommendations made by the CLRC in previous major constitutional reviews and directives, such as the review on the declaration of Papua New Guinea as a Christian country, the review of the electoral laws, and the review of the organic law and provincial and local level government, with a particular focus on decentralization. In fact, Mr. Deputy Speaker, the recommendations in this current report and any other report that emanates from CLRC are not isolated or made in a vacuum. They are always firmly built upon the foundation of past CLRC reviews and reforms, including ordinary reviews of Parliament. Mr. Deputy Speaker, in essence, this continuity reflects the CLRC enduring commitment to a cohesive, principled, and forward-looking law reform agenda for Papua New Guinea, as well as maintaining the independence of its law review and reform procedures and process. The law of the CLRC chairman and the Commission, composed of broad representation, including members from both the government and the opposition, as well as individuals with expertise in law, social science, and representatives from the churches, was primarily to provide guidance and advice through the course of the review. However, the hard work, day-to-day operations, research, coordination, and consultation efforts were carried out diligently by the Commission staff, the dedicated public servants who ensured the success of the review. It is important to recognize and commend their tireless commitment and professionalism, which made it possible for this comprehensive and well-informed report to be completed and presented to the nation. Mr. Deputy Speaker, it is also worth highlighting that this report is the result of all of government effort, reflecting its national importance and significance. The CLRC was fortunate to have the partnership and active involvement of several key government agencies throughout the review process. Mr. Deputy Speaker, their contributions not only strengthen the quality and the credibility of the review, but also ensure that this report is grounded in practical realities and aligned with the broader goals of national development and good governance. Mr. Deputy Speaker, at the backdrop of all that I have mentioned, I am both confident and proud. I am confident in the report and its recommendation because of its quality, credibility, reliability, and in terms of providing practical and proven solutions to the issues of service delivery as far as the system that we have today. I am proud because of this is a historic achievement by CLRC, especially on the eve of our 50th independence anniversary, and knowing that this is CLRC's contribution and legacy for the future of the country for the next 50 years after 2025. Mr. Deputy Speaker, whether this report and its recommendations are adopted and implemented or not, it doesn't change the fact that this report is now ushered into the annals of history of this beautiful country of ours for all time to come. This report, much like the 1973 report by the predecessor of CLRC and the CPC, which is CPC, will stand the test of time. If we decide not to adopt and implement this report today, the same opportunity will not be lost to our future generation, because they will still pick it up and run with it in their time. Mr. Deputy Speaker, I would rather, or we, the current crop of leaders in this material time, when it matters the most, let's take the courage for change and support this report and its recommendation, and to see to its implementation instead of leaving it for our future generation, our generation and their children, because by then, they will be in a worse state than we are in today because we didn't act today. It will be an injustice. Let history remember this Parliament as the one that had the courage to make necessary reforms, not just for today, but for the generations to come. And while I say that, I want to thank the Prime Minister for having the political will and to make this decision to go through this reform. I would rather be the current leaders at this material time, as I've said. We must make our decision. Let history remember this Parliament that had the courage to make this reform. Mr. Deputy Speaker, as we move forward, I urge the Honourable House to treat this report with the seriousness it deserves. Let us debate it constructively with the interest of our country and people at heart, and let us do our part to ensure that the recommendations be adopted, are implemented meaningfully and effectively. Mr. Deputy Speaker, on behalf of the commissioners, let me once again thank Maraboroso government for its initiative and continued support throughout this process, and for ensuring that CLRC had the resources to complete this national undertaking. I also thank my fellow commissioners, the CLRC Secretary, and the very hardworking staff of CLRC, and all our key government partners who journeyed with us in this report. And most importantly, Mr. Speaker, I thank the people of Papua New Guinea, the stakeholders, the churches, the public servants, the people across the country who have spent the time to come and sit down and to go through all these terms of reference and discuss. I thank you. This is your contribution, and now this report has now been on the floor of Parliament now, and the people that you have elected and voted will have this time to debate and decide whether or not this report, it must be tabled and then reform is extracted from this report. With that, I thank you, Mr. Speaker, for making my contribution.
Governor for answer this.
Thank you, Mr. Assistant Speaker. I stand to contribute to this very important debate. It's a very timely debate that we are having now on the 50th anniversary of our nation. From the outset, I want to commend the Prime Minister for his leadership in getting the setting up the getting the Constitutional and Law Reform Commission to undertake this countrywide exercise. To us, that's a very pertinent question that is important for us to address, especially this Parliament. We are mandated to answer these questions that are probably becoming a very valid conversation and discussion among our people. And it's appropriate that we take advantage of this 50th anniversary with the hindsight, benefit of the hindsight, looking back at the journey of our people, our country, our nation coming 50 years, and thinking about the next 50 years. So I commend the Prime Minister for his leadership and getting this important process going. Secondly, I want to commend the Chairman, Honorable Saki Saloma, member for Okapa, and the other commissioners. Some of them are members of Parliament, member for Talasia, member for Ambunti Drakikiar, and other eminent persons who have come together to canvass the nation, to ask our people this very important question that we should be asking now. It's very timely. Our founding fathers and mothers, Grand Chief and his team, they did not have this benefit. They looked at the rest of the world, look at the experience, what's happening in the world at that time, looking at the experience of post-colonial state. They did not have the benefit that we have. We have the benefit of 50 years, benefit of all this experience. And what is important, Assistant Speaker and members of Parliament, is that what we decide now will define the journey of our people and our nation the next 50 years. Whether they live to transform our nation, their lives, live better quality lives, able to achieve all the goals that we have put forward or embraced or captured in the 2050 vision or medium-term development plans or SDG, the global plans, global goals, whether we are going to achieve that or not depends on the decision, fundamental decision that we've got to make. This Parliament, 11th Parliament, must make this decision. So we are privileged to be in this 11th Parliament on this anniversary, to have the opportunity, a great opportunity and privilege given to us, honorable members of Parliament. Mr. Assistant Speaker, we must take this seriously. We must read this report thoroughly and come to some decision and make the changes that needs to be made. We must acknowledge that there are structural impediments. There are structural impediments to the progress and well-being of our nation. Some of them, we know them, but we take the easy way out by not making the amendments or changes that need to be made. And this is now time for us to make this bold decision, not to muck around. We are elected and mandated by our people to come and make this type of decision, that even how hard they are, but we must make this decision. Mr. Assistant Speaker, so the committee, I must commend them. It's not easy for them, but they have made a recommendation that it's now up to us in Parliament. For me, being a fourth-term member of Parliament, great privilege, absolute privilege to be a member of Parliament, and coming fourth term with the Prime Minister, member for Vanimo-Green, consistently, concurrently being a member of Parliament. We also have the benefit of, these 4 terms. There are few members of Parliament who have been here too much longer than us. We all should canvass all our experience and wisdom and knowledge to assist all of us members of Parliament to make this decision. The consultation has been made. Our people have spoken. Now it's time for us to make the decision. Some of us, Mr. Assistant Speaker, for me, I can speak for myself. I want to put on record that my position in terms of Section 145 of the Constitution is very clear. I've stated it so many times. Mr. Assistant Speaker, as far as I'm concerned, by putting in the Section 145 of the Constitution, we have institutionalized corruption in this country. from the very beginning. From the very beginning. Imagine, Mr. Speaker and members of parliament, which government, which prime minister in particular, can deliver outcomes for our people, for our nation, within 6 months of being given a mandate to become the prime minister. But that's what we signed ourselves up for. And we signed ourselves up for failure from the very beginning. From the very beginning, we signed ourselves up for failure. We gave the incumbent, the person who is the chief executive of our country, who's supposed to deliver or guide us to deliver greatly for our nation and our people, only 6 months to deliver. No security of tenure of office. If he doesn't deliver within 6 months, you mean by rousing him. That's what we signed up our country for. And not only that, we signed up ourselves to start willing and dealing. You know, I'm the incumbent, you go to opposition. You work in camp, you go in camp. Who funds this camp? Where the money coming from? People some I think you got plenty money, business stuff. People some poor line, street lawyers coming to parliament. We cannot afford and do this type of horse trading going on. So, Mr. Speaker, this Section 145, over the period of 50 years now, we've held it like it's absolute Bible or something that if we get rid of it, the sky will fall. Mr. Speaker, you know that this kind clause of constitutional nerve country. And the sky has not fallen in their country. Why are we keeping it? We should allow the incumbent to get a service time full term, 5 years. People are governor, people are given 5 years here. That's another thing. But you cannot be voted out. As a governor, you are given 5 years. You have security of tenure. Open members too, you block at 5 years. If petition fails, you are guaranteed to be a member of parliament, an open member for 5 years. Not a vote of no confidence for you. But the Prime Minister, whom is supposed to oversight all of us, oversight the public service, oversight the provincial and local level government, oversight the entire country, hey, doesn't have any security of tenure of office. You may start off, Mr. Assistant Speaker, with 6 months, and then we extend it to 12 months. 12 months, you probably achieve him within the 12 months. Can we seriously deliver this nation? All the outcomes on health and education, on infrastructure, on building the economy, on raising revenue, on addressing law and order within 12 months? We got to be kidding. Now we extend it to 18 months. Even 18 months. You like, if I had that clause or power inside the NCDC yet, do you all think seriously that we will achieve the outcome that we've achieved in our capital city with all the instability? Before, Mr. Assistant Speaker, Port Moresby used to have the Port Moresby City Council. Guess what? Their hot topic is to change the mayor or city manager or something of them. And Moresby never progressed. So Parliament, in its wisdom, changed the narrative and changed the law. Instead of having a Port Moresby City Council, we became a commission. Governor, amendment will come, he became the chairman, city manager, his staff. We have stability. We are able to deliver. So he got merits for you since in this law. This law, the right to vote the Prime Minister, Mr. Speaker, belongs to our people. It's the power of the people. Now, all I'm before founders of our country decided that this very privileged power of our people should be vested with us, members of parliament. But Mr. Speaker, we have abused that privilege and power of our people. We are trading it to go come. Since 1975, it's coming up now. Mr. Speaker, I would submit maybe Grand Chief might have been able to deliver all that he dreamed of for Papua New Guinea. All his ideas, grand ideas, noble ideas. But did we give him the opportunity? Look at here, in 1980 now, you may vote him out here. He never had the chance. But guess what happened time the reform came in, one time, during Samarit's time, Semekare's time. A bit of stability, and he's able to turn the economy around. Start building up the economy again. And look at what we have gained since that stability of 2002, he come up to 2011. You may remove him because I'm sick. Mr. Speaker, the evidence is there for us. So, me like asking you, all leaders today, to be leaders of our people, to make decisions that will remove all this impediment, institutionalizing corruption, make sure the incumbent is given a security of tenure so that him can come looking at the back. People are still here. Members of Parliament still here. Or runway golo hapo. Golo when I'm camp. The incumbent Prime Minister must be able to manage and run the country to deliver outcomes that has been mandated to the ruling party or to the Prime Minister. If not by this Parliament, we have abused that power of all people blaming. Give the power of all people back, Mr. Speaker. Let our people get this power back and make the decision. And whatever they decide, good or bad, they get what they deserve. If they make good decision, so be it. If they make bad decision, they get what they deserve. They are entitled to it. We cannot complain because it's their decision. They made their decision. He come lo yumi now, this privileged line lo yumi lo Parliament. When we make bad decision or selfish decision or corrupt decision, who pays the price? Not us. You make some people immediately, but our people pay the price. So me like you, me thinking strongly this right. I'm a strong advocate of us moving from this British system. A Grand Chief, with due respect, me challenge him to me talk. Hey, Grand Chief, when he was still alive, why you bring this something? Queen system or something also, no? And talk. Beginning, I had to balance everyone. Some like him independence, some like not like him independence. Miss Tablo Namer, what am I going to do? I brought the Queen system here so that this line only know thinking strong law independence here. Only like him independence here, they can have some comfort. Grand Chief and bring him system law Queen here. That is one of his main rationale. But this was like at the 40th anniversary of our independence. 10 years ago, he was still alive, very robust, thinking very clearly as he had been all this time. But end of beginning now, yeah, you play beginning now. You play looking, me play walking right or wrong. You all can make a very informed decision. So we looking, we can make an informed decision. We look at all the countries in the world, Mr. Speaker. All the countries that are successful, all behind him, presidential system or people vote for the chief executive of their country. USA, you block and look him. China, you block and look him. Whenever can. France, you block and look him. Australia all got prime minister system. Canada, you got prime minister system. But Australia, you know, they reduced the terms of parliament to 3 years, Mr. Speaker. But you block and look him. The presidential system is a system that is based on the fact that those countries are not really like following a traditional system. They are like contemporary state. Like USA, people migrate from everywhere. So they couldn't follow the British system. Blow you me too. We have so many cultures and traditions, so many tribes, so many different systems. Instead of us following one system that is working in the world, you may try following British system.
This British system, it works for them because it's their culture and their tradition. Mr. Speaker, all look at constitution. In Britain, they don't have a constitution. All get an institution, the parliament and whatever, House of Commons or whatever, Prime Minister, it came out from their history, their tradition, growing over a period of time, and they understand it, that they make it work. It cannot really work in Papua New Guinea because something below Yumi. That's why the Americans, they rejected it. Only Canada and Australia, maybe Samoa or behind him. We do, you like behind him now. I mean, walk Yumi. So I want to be a strong advocate of this recommendation. Chairman, me must you. Me must you too long. Side law, bicameral. Me governor now, meeting also, me should form this upper house. You open members, lower house or whatever you may call it, House of Representatives or whatever. So you pass him law. Now suppose you work in same kind of system also, debate constructively. Or you have not read the law, you have not really understand the budget, but just to please the Prime Minister, you yes, say, kind of say. Come along, upper house, then we will have a proper debate. People are governors here, we are ready to form this upper house. So there can be a proper check and balance. We don't pass legislation or budget just by convenience. So Hamas and Prime Minister. That's what we've been doing in this parliament since 1975 we come up now. There's no constructive, objective debate. You may talk to make the incumbent Hamas now, and by giving me PSIP or DSIP or PIP or Migamana. It's a fact. I've been here 4 times now. I know what has been going on in this house. You may not debate objectively, so let's make the right decision. Go bicameral, so upper house can have a chance to, you pass him on, I come. Some of the time, you minister too, you just come now, put him 1 day, give him propose it, me no look good long. We plan to read him too. Plenty time, we don't read this law. This proposed law, you see me come here. You just working fast, something like you mean now. Like kind law now, it mess up the financial system. The bank go come now. Now you may complain. But who made the law, pass the law? And you may have. But we have become the main complainant about how central bank or a commercial bank or only walk long, checking account, you may go come now. You like deposit 1,000 kina or Salim 2,000 kina, you go all family or all by asking you kind of question that we are some criminals or something. We are involved in what is money laundering or terrorism or something else. Mr. Assistant Speaker, we passed that law. Now you may not look too much law, what the pros and cons of this law. Some kind of law too, you may pass them, come hindering me play stuff like this NPCF, limiting our threshold to 10 million. Mr. Assistant Speaker, what will I do with 10 million in the city of Port Moresby? I can't do anything with 10 million. I have to have, people mandated me to spend their money. Whether it's 10 million or 50 million or 100 million or 300 million or they want me to spend their money to deliver outcomes for the people in the city. And if I don't deliver, if me probably money, police is staff here, fraud squad is staff here, come check me now, salim me go bomana. But we have passed a law that is hindering us from delivering outcomes. You see, I think people only mandated you to spend as much as you want, yeah. People are governor, people are by yourself.
Honorable Governor.
Yes, Mr. Assistant Speaker. I think we got plenty point this stuff, so.
Member for about.
Thank you. Give me a chance to talk.
Thank you, Assistant Speaker, for allowing me to debate on this very, very important report. Thank you to the Prime Minister and the Executive Government for giving the terms of reference to the Constitutional Law Reform Commission. Thank you, Chairman, and your team plus the technical advisors that really worked very, very hard to present this report today. Assistant Speaker, today is 43 days of the first next 50-year war since 16th of September 2025 when we celebrated 50 years of nationhood. Today is 43 years old into the new 50-year walk that we are making. And so in this first 43 years of the next 50-year development journey, we have a report that will guide us to rearrange the country in law, in administration, in the economy, engaging the civil society, etc., learning from the hindsight experience of 50-year development history. And so I really commend the chairman for, I haven't had a lot of time to report, but the executive summary and the 7 recommendations are very well articulated. And I have a few concerns to raise. First, I'll start with the 7 recommendations. I believe that if we look at the 7 recommendations and pose it with a question, will recommendation number 1 improve the health and education standards of this country? Will it do that? Will changing from a 3-tier to a 2-tier system lead the country to improve health, improve education, improve economy, etc., etc.? That's the question I want the members of parliament to debate. Number 2, will changing the head of state from the constitutional monarchy to a non-executive president, will it improve the health and education of our country? Will it? And I know many of you know the answers. Number 2, will electing the prime minister by the people do the same? Number 4, I agree with it. Improving the electoral system. Assistant Speaker, this parliament has not yet adopted notice number 65, which is the Special Parliamentary Committee on 22 general elections interim report. It's still lying there, and election is not far away. I urge you, Assistant Speaker, for Parliament, after this debate, to adopt this report so that the minister responsible can take on the recommendations that were part of the report. I believe in recommendation number 5, the more women are represented at this level, the more the balance of proper debate and proper thinking comes in this important house. So that's an issue nobody should question. Will bicameral system improve the health and education of the system? Assistant Speaker, that's where I'm coming from in this debate. While I highly commend the work of the Constitutional and Law Reform Commission, I think they purely focus on the politics in the country. And that's our problem in this country. We always play politics with our people's lives. When I went through the summary report on page 67, this smaller booklet, it's 5.4.2, which talks about bureaucracy. And bureaucracy in this report is defined as is the heartbeat of this nation. Maybe I may be biased because I went through the public service system. I would want a report that focuses on how can we improve this arm, this delivery arm of the country which has failed us. This morning, many questions were asked to the Minister for Health on the system that he is finding difficult to handle, a subsection called medical supply, still very hard to handle. I wish that in our debate, I wish when the Prime Minister takes the leadership in probably appointing a minister responsible for this reform implementation, not too many other ministers, or a team in the National Executive Council to oversee this, and Assistant Speaker, a parliamentary committee also to be established to oversee this implementation of this very, very important report. The country deserves a change. Honorable Alan Bird, Governor for East Sepik, said the country needs a hard reset. I agree with it. We must relook at the entire system, right from the Constitution, right to the ward. And I couldn't agree more with the Governor for NCD. This country requires a major structural realignment, structural change, which is both legislative as well as governance. And so in this argument, and I have pointed out that the report is now focusing more on the politics side, my argument is no, we have to worry about the service delivery arm. And if we reform that arm, if we change that arm, then I believe that that arm, when given instructions to implement government policy, the country will move. I noticed that in the recommendation number 1, and I hope when we will read through the details or the committee that may be formed to oversee the implementation of this important report, that recommendation number 1 need to be taken seriously and immediately. Some of you may recall my debate when I sat down with the debate and I said, I am of the strong opinion that the organic law on provincial governments and local level government in 1995 was a failure. And so I'm thankful to the minister responsible now to undergoing those changes to the organic law on provincial governments and local level government. But we need more changes. With regards to recommendation number 1, I am of the strong opinion that the country has created too many political positions, too many politicians for a small country, too many politicians. So we really need to relook at it. And there are debates. For example, maybe we may have to go back to pre-1975 when my senior, the late Sir Ruben Taureka, when he became the member for Rigo Abau, he recommended in 1977 for Rigo Abau to be split. There was a debate on this floor of Parliament. Why are we continuing to split? Why are we creating more wards, more local level governments, more provinces? We are splitting the country. Why don't we look at how can we create economic corridors? How can we create sectors that can be easily managed by the bureaucracy so service delivery can be efficient? In the recommendations of the Papua Governors Conference, they recommended a regional government system. So we have to relook at the structures that improve service delivery. That's a point that I want to make. Every structure that we want to bring in must improve service delivery. I recommended once on the floor of Parliament in support of recommendation number 1. And I know that East New Britain has a very successful local level government system, so they would want to protect it. And so that's where my argument comes in for autonomy for provincial governments. We must seriously look at autonomy for provincial governments. We must give the powers to those elected members called governors. We elect them in the provincial assembly. Open members, we mustn't go back to the provincial assembly. We come back to the national parliament. So governors run it with their public service, with their elected representatives. And maybe at the provincial assembly level, we seriously look at women representation at the highest level, at the provincial assembly level, and then come up to the national parliament and report its recommendation for our regional seats, specifically for women. I think that's too few. But the debate, we will have a debate on those matters. If we remove, for example, and I have said that if we remove the local level government system, for example, in Abau district, and they recommended here that the district development authority must not be a political one. I agree with that. That district development authority must be a technical bureaucratic system that delivers the services. Open members come here, you fight for resources, and you don't influence the bureaucracy. The independence of the Bureau of Public Service is very, very critical. Too many political interferences. There are too many political appointments as departmental heads. Now we are going down to CEO of the districts. Our sticky fingers are going everywhere. And so the system that we must create must allow bureaucracy to move, allow bureaucracy, a provincial administrator, to not always say yes to the governor of the province, but with his technical expert, and this is where appointment by merit comes in. And deprovincialization. Central province public servant to be the provincial administrator for central province. No, we are building a country. We're not just building central province. So deprovincialization of the public service. These are the issues that the committee really should be looking at, should have looked at, in order to improve the delivery of services and therefore directly impacting on the health and education and living standards of our people. I'm not going to spend a lot of debate on the other recommendations, but I've been advocating for a bicameral system for a long time, and I'm thankful to the chairman and his committee for recommending a bicameral system. But you know, there are also bad sides of the bicameral system. It slows the process down. And the reason I'm sure that our constitutional writers saw every system and they opted for the unicameral system. Because the bicameral system, and by budget go hand up on the upper house, and we are waiting, and then the business is closed, like what's happening with US at the moment. Economy is closed, public servants are not paid because part of the house is not supporting the budget, for example. And so there are pros and bad sides of it. I strongly recommend that a team of experts supporting maybe NEC team and a parliamentary committee to seriously look at and get the expertise in the region and around the world. With our own domestic experience, I think we can. At the moment, myself, I'm very keen on some of the systems around the world. For example, the president should be elected by the people, like what the recommendation is. And president elects the prime minister. Prime minister is accountable to the parliament, like the French system. So those options, there are good systems in the world. Rather than us having a blinkered view, we need to open up our systems and see that there are other systems that are working very, very well, consistent with our culture. And I opt for a longer term, but 1 year term, but impeachment provisions on the prime minister or the president when that leader does not comply with the laws of the country. So impeachment provisions should be there one term for the President or the Prime Minister is the way to go. I am going to make a strong recommendation for women representations on the floor of Parliament. But I believe that we should start at the assembly level. We should review the organic law on provincial governments and local level governments, and with the two-tier system recommendation now, we can actually go down to the provincial level, and at least, and I'm nominating at least 30% of women of the seats at the provincial assembly should be women. That's my strong view. Because you and I know, as men, you and I know, our daughters and our wives are the finer planners. They deal with finer details. You mean on top too much. They finally look at what's going to be cooked for breakfast, lunch, and dinner. When the child is sick, they are the ones that bring the child to the doctor because they know the consequences. We round, and so I'm in strong support of nominating a 30% representation at the provincial assembly of women. And if we are going for the bicameral, I strongly recommend that of all the provincial seats, governor seats, all the governors go back to the provinces as per the recommendation. Don't come to the national parliament. But those are provincial seats, 22 of them, we create women's seats. And they come on the floor of parliament. Automatically, we have 22 women after an election that we allow the laws to change. And I'm strongly recommending that 2026, the whole year, and then one full term, the 12th parliament, all these changes to be done in the 12th parliament. So those of you who come back on the 12th parliament, we have to pick this report up and structure the systems, realign the law, and make sure that the country is operating for the next 50 years in a new set of structural arrangements. I want to add 3 other recommendations on top of the 7 that the committee has rightly recommended, but as I said, it's too politically skewed. First one, I think Prime Minister has raised it, the issue of the Speaker. I strongly recommend that we have a non-elected Speaker, like what Bougainville has done, so that there is that neutrality at the head of this honorable house. My strong recommendation. Opposition leaders issue 2, only the organic law on the integrity of political parties mentions it, but we need to provide a constitutional provision for it. How the opposition leaders should be elected and removed, and also prescribe how the Speaker should be elected and removed. My third recommendation is, for any constitutional amendments on the floor of this Parliament, we must go for referendum. Not using the executive numbers to make constitutional amendments. Because I'm house law country here. Mama law, I'm house here. You cannot just change the window and replace it with a plastic curtain. No God here. Agree. Constitution in house here. You cannot remove one post made of steel and put a mangrove post, which we do in my village, Kapar. No God. So I strongly recommend that any constitutional amendment, when you want to change the house of the country, the spirit of the country, go back to the people and seek their opinion and come back, and we listen to the people. It's about listening to the people. It's about inclusiveness, allowing people to speak here on the floor of Parliament, rather than now our biased party political project orientations, like what we do in this floor of Parliament. when the Prime Minister of the day threatens you with, you knock and kiss him, DSIPO, 5 million counterpart, then you stay where you are. You don't worry about your own personal position. Arima, I'm through ya. I'm through ya. My time is up. Thank you, Assistant Speaker, for the opportunity.
Governor for HCP.
Thank you, Mr. Acting Speaker, Assistant Speaker, sorry. Me too, Mr. Naplong. First of all, commending Chairman Blong CLRC, going through the list of commissioners you have. Many of them are highly respected Papua New Guineans, so I wanted to just acknowledge that for the purposes of this debate. Plenty will talk me like making me suti go the same road where member Blong about me talk long because a lot of these matters were canvassed during the in 2009 when Sir Michael Somare was still the Prime Minister, and the Honorable Sepu Katemu was the Deputy Prime Minister, and he was in charge of the task force responsible for doing the reviews which led to the Vision 2050. And of course, there was a second committee headed by the late Sir Barry Holloway, which looked at the arrangements in our institutions of government. Now, that report is probably collecting dust somewhere in the office of the Chief Secretary. But in any case, the issue I also struggled with when looking at the terms of reference, first of all. And so I asked myself, how were these terms of reference drafted? Because if you look at it, it's heavily skewed towards sorting out the politics. But the problem I have is that, you see, in other countries, you have a very strong public service. And it is largely accepted. And you know, I sat in a courtroom the other day listening to the Chief Justices make comments. And the Chief Justices basically said, not the Chief Justice, the Justices said, they expect that politicians can have all kinds of unprofessional opinions. So there is that expectation, which confirmed where in other countries, they expect that politicians make a kind thing. Now, by not at one kind experience level of professionalism. And this is where the level of professionalism, the robustness, strong public service also are building. And the expectation is that members of parliament who may not be experts themselves, if they are placed in charge of a department, then the expertise is in that department to guide the minister. Now, what you find today, like every secretary of department I speak to, they tell me, sorry, you must understand, kind politics blo Papua New Guinea. Me must harim talk blo boss. And then when I go and speak to the minister, and I say, listen, and he'll be like, why not you not like talk blo secretary? I said, well, the secretary said I should talk to you. And then the minister says, well, I have to talk to the boss. So everybody is passing the buck up the line. And classical example was this morning, where we had the governor of Oro talk about a storage unit for medicine in his province that someone outside of his province was supposed to be building, and they marked it up. So the system that allowed that to happen was actually not looked at by the CLRC. I would have expected the CLRC to look at the system that allows, for example, you have people in Oro, or the people of Morobe. We just heard about the problems at Angao. But the people of Morobe have no control, or the PHA has no control. The provincial government has no control over who is supplying the power. They have no control over who is supplying the medicine. In fact, they have no say. You know, the governor of Oro made a very important point this morning. In 2019, there was some very strong recommendations to fix the medicine supply problems that we have in this country. unless I'm living in a different time zone, now I'm 25 years. So for 6 years, the recommendations of one of the committees of parliament was not implemented. Simply put, only no implementing. Heavy Public Accounts Committee looking finish no 2019. Only looking finish. Only finding out finish. Only writing no paper na can presenting no parliament. 6 years behind. Nobody had solved the problem. Now no this morning we play cross no floor. These recommendations don't solve that issue. There are no recommendations to solve that. Of course, if we want to elect the Prime Minister directly, because Prime Minister all the time, and by Tokol Sem, you know, I am held by ransom to my government MPs. The politics holds me to ransom. So Prime Minister, I'm arguing at look, Lomina, let's elect the Prime Minister directly. And there are merits to that argument. But then you come back to the system. If the system is not sorted out, so you got check and balance, no power of no Prime Minister, then you end up with a system where you can see in the US now, the Republican Party is trying to dismantle their court system, they're trying to dismantle their states. The arrangement they made 250 years ago, where they came together as a country, they are now trying to dismantle them. That's the way I read it. And giving the executive government overall power. In a country like ours that is so diverse, you actually need checks and balances law. Balancing also, mihamamas lo harim, Governor Paco pemi tok. And it's always interesting when you listen to the responses of Sir Michael Somare, our founding father, the Grand Chief. All the time, talk. I need to balance the expectations of all Papua New Guineans. And this is where, you know, coming back to this, when we make some of these decisions, we cannot take into account the interest of one person or the interest of a particular protected species like members of parliament. We've got to take into account when I'm something where by best saving all people blame. I come back to the argument we had this morning. You know, our poor people of Morobe and the patients in Engau had absolutely no control over how power supply by Kamonoga. There was zero accountability, no check and balance that would have ensured that power supply staff, na this la 5 la life or how much la life here, would have had an opportunity to be saved. They had no say, people of Morobe. And that same situation exists in every single province. I would have liked to see the system also being included in these terms of reference. Now, me again, those something was said, Puka been talked to Islam. I would have liked to see the system being sorted out. You see, in my province, me can't pass no ceiling now. The things that I cannot fix in my province, they are all national government responsibilities. All get up. And every governor will tell you the same thing. True. When I'm something where me not of stratimia and me stratim finish, me should really finish the parliament, I should leave in 2027. My job is done. But the problems still remain in my province, which are all national government responsibilities. Now, who said by stratim despla? I have 2 ministers in cabinet. I talk to them. They're struggling. They're fighting with other ministers and trying to resolve other issues. So, for me personally, I want to see the responsibilities sorted out. Whose side I'm responsible, no, what am something, now how about you hold him, there's a man or Mary accountable? You see, if you go to other, like if you go to Australia, the members of parliament in Australia are lawmakers. In PNG, up until say 1990, members of parliament, or say 1995, were lawmakers. Today, all of us are project managers. So, mipla yet inside the parliament, mipla changing job description, mipla. We changed it. Work blomibla em logo na building road na classroom na building bridge na em work blomibla. Lawmaking. You Mr. Kam Sinan Loyana. I want the minister back na em read him law happier na 5 minutes to be passing. Most of us don't even read it. So this like lawmaking and work law said now. Whose job is that? It's basically a job that you miss a less lawmaking, but because we have to do it, we are forced to come and do it. I have had 2 prime ministers sit in that chair, including, with respect, the current prime minister. I'm saying, sanab na talk. You bla kisi money bla na go to place na make it work. So there is your charter. Kissing 10 million, 5 million, whatever million, go to place na make it work. No can stop the parliament. You know, in other countries, parliament will sit for 6 months of the year. Mipla, we are struggling to make 35 days in a year. Not even 1 month, Mipla are sit down. If you add all the days, Supreme Court tried to force Mipla no sina namas 42 days. Force Mipla or 63. And we don't even make the 63. Because Mipla must run go to place now. No got workman lo work in breeze, so remember you must go na work in breeze. No got man lo work in classroom, so remember you go na work in classroom. I want to see the system fixed. And sadly, with all the good work that CLRC has done, there's nothing here to fix the system. And that is my complaint. I would like to see more checks and balances built in, and I regret that I haven't read the full report. Me too, one kind miluluta so long summary taso. If you can fix the system and strengthen the system, it doesn't matter what your politicians are doing. System by stronging. That's what happens in other countries. Correct. Our institutions are so weak. Now, there are people of Papua New Guinea, our institution and weak. So, you know, if you call the ECP administrator and ask him, how much play instruction Governor Beds give you? Emba talk zero. Me plus stop meeting once a month, na Governor Bed talk na finish. I don't even call the guy up. I don't call him up and say, pay this contractor or that one. The only time treasurer na Prime Minister complain and talk, ECP give like a plan the money, you plan not spend him yet. Me by ringing him and talk, please, can you spend this money so that the Prime Minister and the treasurer don't criticize me? You plus spend the money. And then he'll say process. I say, okay, I respect your process, but you sit down and start now, treasurer criticizing me to plan. Spend the money. Get things done. So this is the issue I have. And you know, I want to reduce the space between accountability and the people who need the accountability. Right now, you see, me cross one them, the Honorable William Duma now money. Because power emma, stabanid lo, look out long em. But the middle brother bien, but middle second. But for the people, middle cross. One can also me sing out on the block. Walking point of water long, Minister of Long Health. And I could see that he was struggling. You know, almost all our curative services around the country only struggle to work now. Because no got Marasin, regardless of what the good minister said, as the government put in 50 million, all other Marasin is still coming yet, some man no delivering. The fact of the matter is that our people don't have access. Service delivery is about timing. Suppose one man need him service now take him 3 days lokisim la service na dial on amel, well, service delivery has failed. And that's precisely what happened in Enga. So, you got to reduce the time between who is accountable and who is going to fix it. You can't wait until all good member Blomorbe come loyana question him, health minister. I would have hoped, and this is the thing I struggled with. If you have strong institutions, and I'll give you an example. Miblalo ECP, I was fortunate that the late Honorable Malabag was in the House as health minister. I've been marking me come up chairman Blomboro Mausi. So we started work when I became governor, thanks to the goodwill of the people of ECP. The Honorable Sepuka Temu was the health minister, and then come now, implementing PHA Blomibla. Today, the ECP PHA is probably the most accountable public sector organization in Papua New Guinea. And they have qualified on their own merit to receive direct funding from donor agencies. And that's simply because we strengthen that public service organ. So M can operate like Blongem. We have professional people in there. And I come back to the point that Sepuka was making. Let's not provincialize our public service. You know, when we were trying to decide on who the new CEO of the ECPIC PHA was, all civic doctor will strike, already pass lumina to governor and work lumibla. Wabla civic maskis is la wo. And I said, respectfully, I want the best person to get this job. Whether that guy is Chinese, white, from the highlands or from the coast, I don't care. Well, guess what? The board selected someone from West New Britain and is doing a tremendous job in very difficult circumstances. We have to have those kind of strong mechanisms. I had no say. I didn't go and tell them, Makin Deslaman or Makin Deslaman, and board yet only go through Lowampla professional company. No, only mark him, the best person they could find. And that person has won the confidence with the confidence of the board of people like the World Bank. So now only can access indirect funding. And this is what I see is missing across Papua New Guinea. We have very weak institutions. Too much political interference in the institutions. You may need to strong him too, so that if it's possible and if the CLRC is going to come up with the next lot of sablabo work, him. Me like him, you look law. Strong him, na give him space. Arm's length between the politician and the person in the administration. No can larim des la secretary come up also briefcase carry up minister around biani member. No can larim CEO blo DDA time. Member he come na lend them CEO son of staff want them. Briefcase na wet law escort him. Member I go back lo place. I see that all the time. We've got to stop that. We've got to allow the professionals to do their work while we can continue our silliness here at our level. So, again, I commend a lot of what you've done. Chairman, one time all, good line blow you. But I would have preferred that there was a lot more work done on your terms of reference so that you could look at the institutional issues as well, which are totally ignored here, in my view. Thank you.
The Honorable Member for Pomio.
Thank you, Assistant Speaker. I'd like to also contribute to this important debate and thank the Chairman of the Law Reform Commission. This very, very important topic today. For the question that was raised by the member for Abao in saying that whether this particular recommendations that will lead to fixing health and education, it's a yes. That's, I think, to me, my view is all of these recommends you need a good political system in place to actually influence policy and law matters. So it does have an impact on HDI, the Human Development Index. So that's my first point. I think it's a yes to this one. You need a good policies, and policies actually based on whoever the government is leading. I'm first of talk So, for example, we have the 2050 vision. 2050 vision established by the former, the late Grand Chief. I'm making in time also politics line all stuff lots of time now in 2050 vision. And we have a PNCDSP 2030. Today you got MTDP 4 stuff, medium term development plan 4. And you look at this one. MTDP 4 talks about this 12 specific priority areas. Now it does also include quality health care, quality education stuff inside. So again, I'm linking all party stuff now, politics system stuff now, every influencing also law now, policy stuff. So we cannot separate. We cannot separate these policy matters on politics or how the bureaucracy is actually functioning. I support the comment made by the governor for ECPIC in saying that yes, we must have a robust the public system, the bureaucracy. I see as a weakness. We are here to make sure that we achieve the targets of MTDP 4, for example, that actually link to 2050 vision. But when we talk to our bureaucracy, sometimes we receive the feedbacks after 1 week, 2 weeks, 3 weeks late. That's serious. So how do we actually fix that? We need a system that's actually functioning, the bureaucracy. I think that we need to have a look at all these matters and see that the public service system is actually functioning. When I became the member of parliament in 2015 through a by-election, there was no public servants in my district. All staff, but all staff low NMR. Then we built a administration building. Within 2 years, we were rated from the least developed to be the most improved district in the country. Because we got public service system will operate. So I connect, so tok lo, imino can sabe lo usa them, you can have CEO lo district, yeah. I'm wrong too. That person must connect with you. They must be with you to understand what you want to do for the district. I am one of the best forming CEO in the district. And my team, some of the members of parliament went to my district and they said, 5 o'clock, Fridays after lunch, you will still see my public servants in the respective office. You go to a local level government office, all public servants work staff. You go all ward members, all staff inside a place called work staff. That's a system that is actually functioning. It's functioning well in the district, and we see things happening. So when we gather DSW fund, CEO communicates with me. He sent to me the cash flow of that funding from DSW funds. And we approve him also based on the board resolution. That's the funding that must go. This is because already approved by the DDA board. So I'm going to make it a like blame stuff. Funding go, I'm to go, you got 2 million kina, example come. I'm selling this cash flow come back, Lomina to go, okay, based in Slaya, connecting board resolution. And then we see things happening. We actually implementing many of the projects because we have a functioning bureaucracy in the district. It's like a system, yeah, we need to have that also in all our departments. They must understand us, flow along with us. And some of them are actually, if the club, no, making stuff, no thing also, we got plenty months stuff or plenty years stuff, making something else stuff. So to me, that is something that must be improved. The talk of PHAs, provincial health authority system is a decentralized function. Last time, the Department of Health and Control was something here. But after the implementation of the PHA structure in 2007, I'm now a governor, I'm signing on the Minister of Health. Section 7, you look him. I'm taking partnership. Governor invite the Minister of Health, go around the province law, and signing agreement also in PHA now operate the province law. Anything to do with health, Governor, you are represented also in all the boards today, PHA board by your provincial administrator. There is a provincial administrator or deputy blame staff, all the PHA board la country blame. That's why we link no office law governor. Yeah? So when we see one more side law, whatever is happening in terms of health matters, you have a PA in your respective provinces. So you cannot say that they're more Department of Health. You can say it's not Department of Health, because you have an administrator that is sitting on the PHA board that is responsible to advise on what must be happening to fix the PHA system of provinces. So I'm not going to come to us, oh, Prime Minister wrong, or Minister of Health wrong, no. It's all of us. PHA is about everyone doing our job. Everybody is responsible. Something wrong, you will take that responsibility to actually find out what must be happening. Find out how we fix him power supply, how we fix him medical supply. I comment some of the members, they're using their vehicles, using the resources to also find out how they can actually carry matters in suppose logistics company and we fail. Only go medical supply blow now. I just want them all track blow, carry go some blah. I think that's what's be happening. We can't be staying here pointing fingers and saying Minister of Health wrong, no. System in a function. Yes, I fully acknowledge the fact that we have a PHA recommendation. As I said today, I'll be responding on Friday this week. But even though we have not actually failed to implement. I thank the former ministers for health. They actually did their part. They did their part in making sure they actually ticked off this recommendation of PAC, Public Accounts Recommendation, long medical supplies distribution procurement, all of this. We have done our part, and I will give a full report. Department of Health has failed to implement the PHA racial recommendations. So, Dr. You must stop it. I want to make it clear today we have established a task force. I will give a full report on Friday regarding this matter. Thank you, Senate Speaker.
Governor for Gal. Sorry, Oro.
Thank you. I just wanted to add a few words to this very important debate that's going on about the work that has been undertaken by our Constitutional Law Reform Commission. Congratulations to the chairman and his team. They did visit, I believe, all provinces. I met with them in my province and had the opportunity to have a few words, discussions with your team there. And I had some concerns which I will put in writing to you in regards to the report that was presented to me in my province. But in regards to this particular debate or this session now, I just wanted to add a few words to the debates that were very lively and passionate debates that were presented by my colleagues here. I support all of what they are saying. And I take note of what the good Minister for Health has said about what he is doing in his district. And in fact, what's happening in East New Britain. And many provinces are doing their best, I understand, districts, etc. I take note of what Governor Bird stated about a weak public sector. And it's this particular subject matter that I wanted to debate on, or make mention of, or talk about. But before I go there, in regards to the idea of a Prime Minister being elected by the people, which sounds like a great idea, I just have one concern. And that is, how do we ensure that this effort will not be hijacked by insidious, powerful forces who can then install their own Prime Minister for their interest to the detriment of the people of Papua New Guinea? This is a question that we must ask ourselves. How do we put in place mechanisms, protocols in what we are hoping to achieve so that this does not happen? This happens in many parts of the world, even in some of the so-called powerful democracies that are always preaching to us about democracy. They are controlled by very powerful forces that dictate exactly what happens in their economy and who benefits the most, etc., etc. Protects specific elitist entities and individuals. We have to be very mindful of this when we are coming to make a decision about this. We already have very powerful forces in this country, in case you don't know, that do interfere in our politics, that do fund political camps. They do, for their own interests. They invest heavily in the elections. Some of us struggle to move around in our efforts, but others have no problem because they have all the funds they need. These powerful forces with deep pockets fund their efforts, and then they have their people in here. It happens. That's what we have to guard against. If we're not careful, this can happen. You don't need an army. You don't need jet fighter planes and tanks and soldiers in uniforms to invade an economy and take ownership of that economy. It can be done in a very clever way with insidious characters who are very learned in this space and area, and they can do it for their own purposes, for their own selfish purposes. And how do we protect our people and our future and our economy from this? Well, I can't say our economy because we hardly own it yet. Well, when the time comes when we do own it, say for instance, that effort needs to be made. But that's another debate. That's what I'm concerned about. So we must have mechanisms in place to ensure that our people's interests, our country's interests are protected from these type of characters, these insidious characters. Many who already are here, many who have been the subject of many inquiries and still operate at will and whim, doing as they please, raping and plundering our economy, paying zero taxes, diversifying their businesses into so-called legitimate businesses that we unwittingly participate in without realizing, or do we? in regards to the subject of a robust public sector, we don't have a robust public sector. In fact, when there's a vote of no confidence, it's as if the whole country is involved. From Buai Market to Wanamliklik Place, Loples, and inside the public sector, government departments are paralyzed. And they're all watching to see what's going on. And they're all placing their bets as if they're betting on a particular horse race that comes around every November on Tuesday. It's the first of Tuesday. So this happens too. We don't have a robust public sector. My parliamentary committee has been inquiring, or has made a few inquiries, and this is being exposed by our inquiry. And we'll continue, most recent one being an inquiry we did into the alluvial mining sector. And we found out that this sector is leaking 4 billion minimum. 4 billion kina out of this country is being stolen. Now, alluvial gold. And I estimate that it's the same with forestry, it's the same with fisheries. It's got nothing to do with the ministers here. It's got nothing to do with the ministers past. It's got everything to do with the fact that our public sector is not robust. Statutory organizations that were created to protect and promote PNG interests aren't doing that anymore. They're not out there enforcing the law. They're acting like mercenary entities, serving, issuing permits and licenses to whoever turns up with a bag of money. That's what's happening. And are the interests of Papua New Guineans protected? No. Otherwise, this would not be happening. This company that's operating in Morbe province, for instance, that has smuggled significant volumes of gold out of this country through insidious manners. And it has been exposed. But are these organizations doing anything to it? To date, they're not doing anything about it. Well, I must correct myself. I commend customs. They arrested 3 expatriates, 3 foreigners who were involved in the attempted smuggling of 20 kilos of gold. That's great. Hopefully those expatriates have been remanded at the immigration facilities in Bomana, which is where all foreigners who are charged with a criminal offense in Papua New Guinea should be detained. Because they breached their visa conditions, their visas should be cancelled and they should be put in there because they're no longer legally in the country. And they should not be accorded the Bail Act. So I commend customs for that effort. Great. Recently, 109 nationals were deported by migration. Another organization that's doing a great job too. So there's hope. There's organizations that are making an effort. But usually it's because of the leadership at the department level and at the ministerial level. But what happens when that department head is no longer there, that particular minister is no longer there? Then it crumbles because it's not a complete, robust sector. Just like what's happening in Pomio. Good Minister for Health. There's no guarantee that should someone else come and replace you, that what you've achieved there will continue. The same with the district, the province, an organization. This is the challenge that we are faced with. So how do we create a robust public sector that can operate despite the political happenings? I almost said shenanigans, but Speaker, you might take offense to that. But what if this political events that are taking place, it should not leak into the public sector and affect public service delivery or delivery of public services? So that's a challenge we face. And what we need to do in this 50-year reset that we are attempting to undertake is we need to look back at the last 50 years and say, okay, how do we improve? How do we improve so that we can build a robust public sector so that it functions? Every public servant is performing, serving without fear or favor, just as they're sworn to do so when they become public servants. When we did our inquiry, I was very surprised to learn that the statutory organizations, Central Bank in this instance, MRA, SIPA, they knew about this particular company in Ley. But this company is still operating to date. To date. That company should have all its licenses and permits immediately cancelled because the evidence we presented at that hearing was overwhelming. It's not an allegation or allegations. These are real evidence that we presented or that we were presented with, that we tabled at that inquiry. That company should have immediately had its licenses revoked. Export license for gold, for instance. License for purchasing gold, for instance. And then the foreigners working in that company should be immediately dragged into migration. They should be interviewed because they have now breached their visa conditions. Labor Department should also drag them in and interview them on the basis that they have also breached their work permits. And that those investigations, which, if conducted properly, are very simple investigations. The evidence is right there. And you can cancel their work permits, you can cancel their visas, and you can even have them prosecuted. And meanwhile, MRA has issued them tenements, exploration tenements throughout the length and breadth of this country. Hey, this company that's been smuggling gold out, we're still entertaining it. How and why are we doing this? This doesn't happen in other countries. Imagine if this was Singapore or China. Would they tolerate this? No gat, no gat through. Same day, all by Arastimol line, the Satim company go down straight away. And they would have dealt with them on the spot. Mibla laram all stop yet, na mungkin kain, na business all working more like, all no busy too. Habis lepasin mipla gat lo charge mall, depoti mall too, mipla must scrutinize him area. Sorry, I'm diverting, but I must mention this. Instead of deporting them, let's charge them, send them to Bomana, and they serve their time, hard labor. The message is sent to the rest of the world that Papua New Guinea is a country not to be trifled with. That will send the signal. They will be afraid to come back here. What happens is that we deport them. We don't blacklist them. They go out there, they change their name, and they come back again on a different passport. And they're still running around here. I've run into a few of them. Lately, there was a Nigerian guy who was deported, and I was so surprised to see him. I deported that guy twice. And I read that he was here, and he had a family. How did he come into this country and have a family when he had been deported twice already? There's something wrong here. His name was Holy Moses. I mean, that's his nickname. There's nothing holy about him, but he was here, operating in a very unholy manner. And to be deported the third time, my goodness. That's what's happening. We are not taking our role seriously to protect and promote the interests of this country. The public sector is failing all of us. But we are also responsible because we need to start scrutinizing the public sector. So this is just these are some of my comments that I'm making in regards to this, the robustness of our public sector. Well, it's not so robust, but how do we get it to be robust? I agree with, I think there was a recommendation made perhaps by Sepuka that a committee needs to be formed to manage this process or to get ideas and put them together and say, how do we do this? How do we get a roadmap developed as to where we want to get to? How do we get there? What are the resources required? What laws are required? New laws or amendments to existing laws, etc. And how do we get our public service to function the way it ought to function? You know, for instance, this company that I'm mentioning, and I'll mention again, instantly what should happen is that their licenses should be revoked straight away. They should not be allowed to export gold, buy gold, or operate a business. IPA, which is famous for registering anybody. If Satan came to register a company in this country, he will be given green light, company registered, he'll do whatever he wants. And then if he's found doing something wrong and he's not supposed to be doing it, for instance, maybe he's supposed to have a warehouse in Gazelle, but instead he's operating one in Oro province, they're not going to hold him to account. What is IPA doing, for instance, in this regard? All these government organizations have fallen asleep. They're not serving Papua New Guinea or Papua New Guinean interests. And we have to look at this. We have to scrutinize what they're doing. I mean, ministers can only do so much. But holistically, as a government, as a parliament, how do we do this? We have to have a very robust public sector so transnational criminals, who are the most dangerous criminals in the world, because you see, a normal criminal, he might rob a bank, steal a car, whatever, his crime affects only that locality. But a transnational criminal, he steals from your economy, he steals from your future. With his necktie and briefcase, he can come into this country and make a deal and suddenly walk off with hundreds of millions. or he could orchestrate the change of government. That's what they do. That's why they're so dangerous. And at this juncture, I want to say a side note for my good police minister. You need to revive the Transnational Crimes Investigations Unit that has become dormant for some time. Our intelligence community is hardly in existence. The strange thing about that is that as economies grow, and ours grew, and our population grew, intelligence capacities of nations are supposed to grow in tandem. Ours actually reduced. You know, in 1975, we had 150 NIO officers. Today, we have less than 30. Example. Just examples of the fact that we have a lot of work to do to build a robust public sector. So what do? I think I would suggest, I agree with the suggestion that a committee of sorts be created. Prime Minister and opposition leader nominate people from both sides, put people on this committee. This is a whole of Parliament effort that needs to be undertaken on behalf of the people of this country so that this great reset, we can all contribute and have a next 50 years that is far better than what we had. I mean, we made some achievements here and there, but there's work yet to be done. Thank you, Mr. Speaker. That's my humble contribution. Thank you.
Leader of government business.
Thank you, Mr. Assistant Speaker. This is an important report that goes to the heart of our systems or system of government. And I want to encourage all members of Parliament to take this report, diligently go through it. And because of the importance of this report, I move that the debate on this report be adjourned to allow members enough time to go through it. Therefore, Mr. Speaker, I move that the debate be adjourned and made an order of the day for a subsequent seating.
Thank you. The question is that the motion be agreed to. Those in favor? Those against, no. Ayes have it. Minister for Housing.
Mr. Assistant Speaker, pursuant to status, I present the annual report of the National Housing Corporation for the year 2024. I seek the leave of the chair to present this report.
Is leave granted? Leave granted? Minister, go ahead, make your speech.
Mr. Speaker, before me make a speech for me talk thank you long spla house. Long, if you look at chair now, you Mr. Blong, and thank you too. Something improving come out spla house. Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, Assistant Speaker, it gives me great pleasure to present to this Honorable House the National Housing Corporation 2024 Annual Report. This report outlines the Corporation's interventions in fulfilling its mandated role in providing quality and affordable houses for all its citizens and to generate sufficient revenue to sustain its operations and to pay dividend to its major shareholders. Mr. Speaker, under the UN human rights law, adequate housing is recognized as a fundamental human right, and Sustainable Development Goal 11.1 reinforces this commitment by setting a global target to provide safe, adequate, and affordable housing for all by 2030. The right to adequate housing is more than just having a roof over one's head. It is about living in a decent home with other essential amenities within the reach. Mr. Assistant Speaker,
the National Housing Policy 2023 to 2033 has been endorsed by the National Executive Council and was launched on the 12th of September, just before independence, at one of the gatherings that some of our national leaders were there to witness that. And it was for the first time that after 32 years, we have to launch a new policy on that date. That policy will provide a clear roadmap for National Housing Corporation and all other development partners to work together in our collective effort to provide quality, inclusive, affordable, and sustainable houses for all citizens. Mr. Assistant Speaker, as we know, public housing is in short supply throughout the country and desperately needs annual government funding support to refurbish rundown houses as well as building new ones. Most of the state-owned houses have been disposed to legally recognized tenants under the government sanction give away scheme, but without the agreed compensation amount of 16 million from the government. Nevertheless, National Housing Corporation is also pushing for public-private partnership arrangement with provincial administrations, DDAs, and other development partners in our collective efforts to deliver cost-effective housing solutions. I'm aware that last year, DDAs, provincial MPs, provincial governors, you were given a note from National Housing Corporation to come back. Most of you have never come back, about 2 or 3, they gave the feedback to us. And that's one of the setbacks from you, our leaders. So how can we work without you assisting us in that?
Governments, I did not get a note. So if a note was given, then do you have proof of receipt? Of issuing that note? Because I don't recall receiving a note. So, good Minister, if you could please reissue that note, then we can take action and do something about it. Thank you.
Minister.
Thank you. Let me continue. Thank you, Governor. Will take note of that. Mr. Speaker, there is an increasing demand for housing in most urban centers, and affordability remains a major issue because of the housing prices, which clearly outstrip low-income brackets. And in this note, the Marape Rosso government has provided some funding and requested the first-time buyers to have duty stamp free from IRC, and this is one of the government policies now. Having realized this, the National Housing Corporation began a policy shift in setting the foundation for realization of the adequate housing as a component of the right to adequate standard of living. Mr. Assistant Speaker, the National Housing Corporation has made significant progress since 2022, despite numerous legacy issues. It is set to launch 3 critical policy documents for the first time, and this, as I've mentioned, the policy, the National Housing Policy 2023 to 2033 is already launched. The revised National Housing Corporation Act, it's about 36 years now, 34 years, and it's in its final stages to be presented. And the update of the National Housing Corporation Plan 2025 to 2030 is now attached with this speech before you. With the financial position of the National Housing Corporation, Mr. Speaker, National Housing Corporation is beneficiary of a sizable development grant from the government, annual appropriation through the National Development Budget. The 3 ongoing public investment programs support projects are Durand Housing Project, Flat Maintenance Project, and Headquarter Building Refurbishment Project in Korara. It is imperative that earmarked funding for these 3 projects be released on time and in totality to ensure that these projects are completed as planned. Mr. Assistant Speaker, National Housing Corporation is slowly recovering from its financial problems, and we are doing all we can to stay afloat. Accumulated liabilities over the years have set the National Housing Corporation backward, but with the latest financial and administrative reforms now underway, it will obviously improve the situation going forward. Mr. Assistant Speaker, I'm happy to inform this Honorable House that on the 19th of May 2025, the National Housing Corporation successfully printed its first check payment using the newly installed integrated financial management system. This achievement is a bold statement of our commitment to good corporate governance, transparency, and accountability in all our operations. Mr. Assistant Speaker, the Office of the Auditor General has commenced a comprehensive audit of the National Housing Corporation financial record for the years 2015 to 2024. I am pleased to report that audit inspections of 10 years outstanding audit have been concluded successfully and submitted to the Auditor General's Office in March 2025. We are now awaiting for the further instruction from the Auditor General's Office. Mr. Assistant Speaker, continuing with financial positions, the National Housing Corporation's total liability stands at approximately 47 million. These are accumulated liabilities that consist of various service providers and statutory obligations. The National Housing Corporation has forecasted an estimated revenue collected of 15 million for 2025 to complement its internal budget of 36 million. The mortgage and the rental areas is estimated at 86 million, but is based on the outdated debtors list, of which National Housing Corporation is currently working on before collection can take place. On the property portfolio, Mr. Assistant Speaker, National Housing Corporation has 9 different property schemes. 8 have been phased out, except for the outright cash sales scheme. The cash sales scheme involves normal rental properties and is based on property valuation, market rate, and converging to existing legal plans. Mr. Speaker, on the government giveaway scheme and self-help settlement scheme, as part of our nation's 50th anniversary, I, as the Minister responsible for housing under the Marape Rosso government, has pledged to present property titles to those tenants who have met the prerequisite of the giveaway and the self-help scheme, as token of the government's appreciation for their time and service to our nation's building progress. And on that note, Mr. Speaker, I would like to commend the member for Port Moresby Northwest, Honorable Lohia Boy Samuel, for paying the outstanding areas for 225 giveaway scheme properties in his electorate. National Housing Corporation is now in the process of transferring property titles to legal tenants with assistance from the Department of Lands and Physical Planning. This statement was prepared before the independence. So we are already giving some titles to our people, to our MP for Moresby Northwest, and it's the same thing for Moresby South. Mr. Speaker, Assistant Speaker, I would also like to extend my gratitude to the member for Port Moresby South and Minister for Foreign Affairs and Honorable Justin Seseko for his commitment to assist block holders from his electorate securing properties down at the Calgary, Joyce Bay, and Horse Camp. I want to assure you all that the NNC is willing to do the same for all other electorates if we all can work together as for the common good of our people. On the legacy schemes, Mr. Speaker, tenants identified under the legacy schemes, such as the Morgan scheme, the sell-up scheme, the Advance scheme, the National Home Ownership scheme, and the rental purchase scheme, will have their titles transferred after the Triple V exercise with full settlement of any outstanding areas. With tenancy public notices, Mr. Speaker, apart from the legislative and the policy reforms, I also took serious note of the legacy issues that have
burdened the National Housing Corporation for decades. In October 2023, a moratorium notice was published to allow all tenants to fix their legacies and payment records within 3 months. This was followed by a final 30-day notice that was published in March 2024. From the 30th of September 2024, National Housing Corporation had commenced recovery exercise in National Capital District, and the same will apply in other provincial centers. This was done, but the court came in, put a stop, we went to the court, and we won the case on the same court again. Okay, Mr. Speaker, another public notice went out continuously on the 30th of October 2024 with a list of 2,048 defaulters in NCDC alone. The defaulters approached the court and the temporary stop notice was issued but was thrown out by the same court. These defaulters now owe National Housing Corporation a sizable amount of money, and the recovery exercise is aimed at recouping these areas. Mr. Assistant Speaker, I am also pleased to inform this Honourable House that National Housing Corporation has updated its tenancy agreement to be on par with the current business practices. I urge all the National Housing Corporation tenants to visit throughout the country to visit your nearest provincial offices to update your tenancy record under the new tenancy lease agreement. This is not just about debt recovery process, but part of a broader institutional reform to restore public and business confidence in the provision and the management of the public housing. Point 7, on the triple V exercise nationwide. Mr. Assistant Speaker, on this note, the Gulf Province and the Autonomous Region of Bougainville are in the advanced stage of the completing the triple V exercise to be followed with legal transfer of all National Housing Corporation properties to this province and the region. For Gulf, so far 30 property titles have been released, whilst that for Arab is still under property valuation before referral to the joint supervisory body for both governments to decide on property transfer pricing. Work in Medellin, Mr. Assistant Speaker, has gained traction, whilst other provincial centers have been instructed to work closely with their provincial administrations that it is to replicate on the same terms of cost sharing to help expedite this process. Mr. Assistant Speaker, on the Duran Farm Housing Project, the Duran Farm Housing Project remains the government's flagship initiative aimed at developing a sustainable and service housing estate for public servants and ordinary Papua New Guineans. National Housing Corporation aims to construct at least 100 houses by December 2035 in commemoration of the Papua New Guinea's 50th independence anniversary. I am pleased to report the following progress in Duran Farm so far. 20 houses are currently being constructed at the Duran Farm project site. 10 are being built by the National Housing Corporation newly established construction and maintenance unit. The other 4 houses are being built by the roads, those who built Tohaba, we engage them, and PNG Limited. 6 more will be constructed before the end of December. A further 40 houses are slated for construction, reaching 60 plus before the end of 2025. Number 2, Duran Farm project has directly created employment for more than 100 locals so far. Number 3, the 2.6 kilometer of the main sewer trunk construction that runs from Begrega Barracks to the Morata sewer ponds has been completed and is in operational now. Number 4, sewerage reticulation for the stage 1 for 500 allotments at the cost of 5.9 million has been approved by the National Procurement Commission and awarded to PNG Construction Limited. We are waiting for the funding to date to continue this project for the sewer. 5, stage 1 of the water reticulation is completed, enabling immediate occupancy and use of the essential services. And next point 6 is power reticulation is 90% completed for the stage 1, and extension work are underway into stage 2 and is awaiting building permits, approvals, and subsequently the construction of houses. 7 point, memorandum of understanding have been signed with several government agencies. Each agency is being offered 2,200 service allotments. And 8, I would like to commend the police minister and his commissioner for securing 1,200 allotments for the eligible officers to participate. So far, we have given them 4 keys to 4 houses and are working on the others in continuation. With the human resource of the National Housing Corporation, Mr. Assistant Speaker, I'm happy to announce here that job description for all 322 National Housing Corporation positions have been completed. Also, the 2025 to 2028 training plan has been drafted and submitted to NHC board for its vetting. Additionally, NHC internal payroll system has been successfully migrated to the government ALESCO payroll Christo, thus improving transparency and accountability. Mr. Assistant Speaker, we have 322 positions in the approved establishment, of which 218 staff have already taken up the post, while 104 positions are still vacant. Why vacant? Because we just want to see people manage to come in. We don't keep people there on recycle, or people who don't have marriage background. And I'm encouraging them to get people from private sector background to come in. Private sector background with experience. Mr. Assistant Speaker, the National Housing Corporation has so far sponsored 24 employees for postgraduate studies and diploma courses at our 4 universities and the Somali Institute of Leadership and Governance, SILAC, since 2022. There is a current memorandum of understanding in place with SILAC for ongoing and future training programs. It is aimed at upskilling the workforce, which will in turn improve organizational performance and operational efficiency. Mr. Assistant Speaker, NSA will, with the assistance from the Department of Personnel Management, has identified and retired 31 staff from the ALESCO payroll system since 2022. All these service entitlements were paid by DPM. However, their number 1 super contributions of 2.8 million is pending payment from the Treasury Department. Mr. Assistant Speaker, also the NHC has not paid 19 years from 2000 to 2019 of number 1 super contributions for former and current staff, which now stands at 17 million. The above figures are part of accumulated liability as mentioned, like 47 million, including that, and will require direct injection of funding from the government. Number 10, the automation of the administration and financial system of National Housing Corporation. Mr. Assistant Speaker, in line with the government's digital transformation policy, the National Housing Corporation is undertaking critical ICT infrastructure reforms to modernize internal operations, enhance efficiency, and ensure transparency in housing administration. 6 separate ICT initiatives are currently underway in partnership with specialist local constructors that will certainly add value and make significant progress in the corporation modernization agenda, and these are: number 1, Mr. Assistant Speaker, development of the NHC fixed asset and management system and lease management system. On this note, NSA has engaged Kumusop Limited, a Papua New Guinean-owned software solution provider, to develop a customized fixed asset management system, lease management system, and NHS BBB projects. This digital platform is designed to catalog and manage all housing assets nationwide, digitally record lease agreements and tenant information, monitor rental collections and areas, and enable real-time access to property data by the management and government stakeholders. Mr. Assistant Speaker, The prototype is scheduled for completion for official launching, and we already completed an official launching, so now we have a website that you can get access to. And the second one, installation of integrated financial management system and upgrade of MIOP softwares. For the first time, Mr. Assistant Speaker, the disbursement of both recurrent and development expenditures by NHC will be captured in IFMS and handled by the National Housing Corporation Finance Division. Also, NHC has upgraded its outdated MIOP software from version 3 to version 23, which is a significant milestone and a giant leap forward with best accounting practices. Number 3, installation of FinPower Connect mortgage system. Mr. Assistant Speaker, engagement of FinPower Connect in managing mortgage and loans for first-time home buyers through a vendor finance is commendable. This transition from manual transaction to an integrated digital platform will obviously boost National Housing Corporation's operational proficiency and service delivery to its clients. Mr. Assistant Speaker, with the installation of the FinPower Connect mortgage facility, it will no doubt bring about the following: enhance the operational efficiency, improve the customer services, increase revenue generation, better financial management and risk mitigation, and overall digital transformation. Number 4, digitalization of the biometric clock in and out system. To improve, Mr. Assistant Speaker, to improve staff attendance, punctuality, and monitoring of staff movement in and around the office, a biometric facial recognition system has been installed with all the strategic entry points. You must show face and go, you come out. You don't have ways to come out the office. This system replaces the outdated manual time registry and will link directly to the staff attendance record and tracking system in HR division. This is part of a broader human resource modernization effort and aligned with ongoing payroll reform and industrial relations compliance. Number 5, installation of telephone feedback system. Mr. Assistant Speaker, the installation of voice and data services through the digital PayFax telephony system will surely improve communication among NHC staff and its clients. This has been absent for some years and will no doubt boost staff morale and productivity once it is up and running. This essential telecommunication service upgrade will: 1, improve internal and external communication; 2, enable teleconferences; and 3, boost business and confidence and corporate image. Number 6, installation of GPS 360 to all our vehicles. The adaptation of the GPS 360 tracking system for NHC vehicle fleet marks a significant advancement in operational efficiency. This system is to provide real-time location, data history, trip logs, and insight into the vehicle usage. It is crucial for optimizing operations, reducing costs, and enhancing overall vehicle performance. The GPS 360 tracking system's importance lies in the comprehensive oversight and the data-driven insights. Number 11, Mr. Assistant Speaker, the headquarters building redevelopment. The National Housing Corporation commenced its headquarters refurbishment project since 2020 at Tokarara NCD. There are 3 components to this project: perimeter fencing. The initial contract has been terminated due to non-compliance, and a new contractor appointed has recently completed the perimeter at the headquarters. 2, the staff meeting hall. The staff meeting hall has been completed and is currently under defect liability assessment phase. And archive building, the 10 containerized archive storage have been completed and is also undergoing defects liability assessment for the next 6 months. The NCDC building board is expected to issue certificate of occupancy for the 2 completed building once the said requirements are met. For the new headquarters building itself, Mr. Assistant Speaker, the corporation has an ambitious vision to transform the demolished Tokarara headquarters into a modern state-of-art NAC office complex that will house a 5-story modern dual-wing headquarters featuring one commercial office space, government agency tenancy, and digital infrastructure integration. The NAC design team is now working or had already worked with a design contractor for the conceptual design, and the concept design was done. Now it is with the architects to prepare and before it go to tenders. Number 12, the flat renovations in 2022 and 2023, NAC received 3 million from the government for property maintenance. Following outcomes were achieved. Renovation of 2x2 bedroom unit at section 82, allotment 8 in Gordons. Increased rental rates from 350 to 450 per fortnightly on the refurbished units. Next was refurbished of 2x2 bedroom unit times 12 at section 227, allotment 215 in Tokarara. Fully renovated 2x2 bedroom unit at section 227, allotment 216 in Tokarara. Also renovated the bed-sitter duplex unit at section 240, allotment 62 in Garau, and refurbished 4 units at section 212, allotment 1 in Gordons. Mr. Assistant Speaker, it is to be noted here that the National Housing Corporation did not receive any appropriation for flat maintenance in 2024. However, this year, 2025, National Housing Corporation has been appropriated 5 million. For the same, we just got only 1.5. The others are still yet to be released from Treasury. Regional Office facelift. NSC has signed a contract of 500,000 kina with a local company for reinforcement of the Highlands Regional Office in Goroka, which was Goroka, starting with perimeter fencing in 2022. The job is complete and staff have settled in well. However, payment for the contractor is pending due to funding constraints. In Momase Regional Office in Ley, we have started the work fencing, and we can complete it. There was no funding from the government to continue to complete that office. Importantly, we have to build our regional offices like Rabaul, Goroka, Hagen, Mereng, and then that's where we keep our officers settled down. They know what to do. We have to more only boost them up from that end. We need government support on that. Mr. Speaker, on the formalization of the National Housing Corporation Special Procurement Committee, the NHC Special Procurement Committee was established and gazetted in February 2024. The Special Procurement Committee comprises members from the Department of National Planning and Monitoring, Department of Finance, Department of Treasury, National Procurement Commission, State Solicitor Office, and National Housing Corporation. The NHC Special Procurement Committee can deliberate, award, and contract up to 5 million. Point 15, the National Housing Estate Limited. Mr. Assistant Speaker, the abolishment of the National Housing Estate Limited. This is the business arm of the National Housing Corporation, which was established under former government, and it was abolished in 2022, as effectively reverted all prime properties back to National Housing Corporation. About 34 titles have been recovered by the NAC after a lengthy court battle with the creditor of NACL. Memorandum of Understanding, the NAC has signed 11 MOUs with various government departments and agencies who have shown interest to participate in Durand Farm housing project, and these government institutions are Finance Department, Foreign Affairs and Internal Trade, Department of Implementation and Rural Development, Department of Education, Department of Information and Communication Technology, Royal Papua New Guinea Constabulary, Auditor General Office, Port Moresby General Hospital, National Intelligence Organization, National Customs Commission, Papua New Guinea Sports Foundation, and Department of Treasury. This unprecedented interest confirms that Durand Farms housing project as a national priority and requires government's continuous funding support. Litigation matters, Mr. Assistant Speaker. National Housing Corporation is confronted with a total of 406 active and blockade of court cases brought about by disgruntled tenants or clients. This has costed NHC about 44 million and is part of the accumulated liabilities over the years, of which 41 million is from the court decisions and 3 million is for outstanding external law firm with a retainer bill. The NHC legal team is undertaking comprehensive and audit on all these cases and will soon provide its finding to the NHC board. Mr. Assistant Speaker, NHC has also adopted proactive measures such as alternative dispute resolutions, in-house mediation amongst warring parties, and court-endorsed ADR to effectively resolve unnecessary lawsuits and additional legal bills. NHC Board and Management, Mr. Assistant Speaker, the National Housing Corporation has a fully functioned board since its reactivation in October 2023. The board comprises 5 non-ex-official members and 2 ex-official members. The board has 3 subcommittees: corporate governance, audit and risk, commercial investment, chaired by non-ex-official director with relevant qualification, extensive experience and skills to assist our board effectively discharging their duties. Mr. Assistant Speaker, one of the key priorities for our ministry and the new board was the recruitment of the managing director that was achieved through a strength-to-strength process, and I thank the Cabinet and the Publishers Commission, those stakeholders who involved in appointing MD. Mr. Speaker, Assistant Speaker, NHC Decision 314/2023. I wish to put to this Honourable House that NHC Decision number 341/2023 gives National Housing Corporation the lead role to coordinate, plan and implement all government housing programs or projects nationwide. This is in response to growing concerns over unregulated and fragmented housing programs or projects by various government institutions, often without proper statutory compliances. Mr. Assistant Speaker, therefore I call upon all members of this Honourable House and your departmental heads, provincial administrators, DDA CEOs, SOE CEOs and managing directors to take note and embrace this significant government initiative. In doing so, we will avoid duplication of roles and responsibilities and reduce costs in our efforts to bring about cost-effective housing solutions for our people. In conclusion, Mr. Assistant Speaker, I bring this statement to a close. I wish to reaffirm this government's unwavering commitment to addressing housing challenges in our country. Housing is not as a physical structure, it is a cornerstone of family security, productivity and national development. The National Housing Corporation, under my leadership, Mr. Assistant Speaker, and the oversight of the newly revitalized board and management team, is undergoing profound administrative and financial transformation through strategic reforms in legislation, cooperative governance, finance, ICT system, and institutional capacity. The NHC is rising to meet the aspirations of the government of the day and our citizens. We are not merely building houses, we are rebuilding an institution with modern means and business with ease and empowering our citizens to own decent home. Mr. Assistant Speaker, I ask this Honourable House to support the National Housing Corporation in our collective journey to build sacred homes for all and not to leave anyone behind. I believe we can turn our housing dreams into reality as we reflect in our past and inspire our future with optimism as we celebrate, or we have celebrated 50th anniversary independence and going forward. Thank you, Mr. Speaker, and I commend this statement to the Parliament.
The Leader of Government Business.
Mr. Speaker, I move that Parliament take note of papers and the debate be adjourned and made in order of the subsequent seating.
Question is that the motion be agreed to. Those in favor say aye. Those against say no. The ayes have it. Leader of Government Business.
Mr. Speaker, I move that Parliament do now adjourn until tomorrow 10 a.m.
Question is that the motion be agreed to. Those in favor say aye. The against say no. The ayes have it. Honorable members, I now adjourn the Parliament to tomorrow 10 o'clock a.m.